was a car that was on us for a minute. So I'm in the back, I'm like exhausted, but I hear like my guard and the other guards are kind of talking to each other, and like I can feel the tension, and he kind of pulls over to our side, and the guard, he's in his seat, and he unzips his bag, and he goes and he points his firearm at the window, at the door like this. And I'm in the back seat going, oh, fuck.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
It is called True Hustle,
baby.
Me? So it's about the truth.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
So, acting. You said so then you grew up in LA, but you went to Gage Junior High.
Yeah, well,
how was that?
Well,
bro?
before I even talk about myself, I just want to say thank you for having me on your podcast, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you are a Latino who's putting Latino people on the internet and expanding people to see them, and just to have that conversation rolling is honorable. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate that for real. And I've seen a lot of my friends like Fabian Alomar be on this show, and I'm like, man, okay, it's like if Fabian's on this show, then it's somebody I can trust and somebody I can conversate with and have a conversation and see where it goes, you know. And I'm excited to see what this entails. So let's get to it. Yeah. So
that means a lot to me, brother.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel that this platform, I want to put a lot of our people on so they could hear our stories.
That's
on
right.
how it was for us growing up, because it wasn't like that before, right? You know, I think now that things are changing and our culture is being embraced, and how we grew up, it's changing. So now it's giving us this platform has allowed me to put certain people on that I feel that we could have great conversations, and it's relatable to a lot of people out there because we're the majority out here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
And this wasn't, I think, you know, I grew up in the 90s, so our culture wasn't embraced the way it is now. You know, and I think we're breaking a lot of barriers. And I think it's important for, you know, people like yourself, like Fabian, Noel, like people that have made some noise in their particular industries. Now they get to share their stories.
You know, I want to comment on that, actually. I want to piggyback because it is true what you said. We are the majority in this country. And I read a book many years ago that my grandfather sent to me about how by the year 2045, like Spanish will be the universal language as English is right now. So, I mean, it's just like Mexico, the border's right there. And the Latino force is just flowing in, and just like we're everywhere, right? But I want to make sure that people that are creating content understand that actually, like, yeah, we are the majority, but let's not exploit the majority, right? Let's not make something that they're just going to buy into. Like, let's make some things that are like, yeah, it's fun and entertaining, but at the same time, the majority of the things that we make as creatives should be leading toward more of something that causes awareness and an expansion of the mind, you know, and wanting more Latinos just to be educated on certain topics, rather that's, you know, homelessness in Los Angeles, or if that's like immigration and what's happening at the border, if that's like, you know, like what the definition of Latin or LatinX or Latino, Latina, Hispanic, Chicano, Chicana, like all of these terms that we've labeled ourselves, or as the United States has labeled us with. So like, how do we educate and how do we kind of create more content instead of just creating content for the use of content to get views? Like, how do we create more meaningful work, right? And I think that's the question that us as Latinos have to always put in the forefront. I mean, at least that's what I do. And I always want to ask myself, like, why am I doing this? If not me, who else can do this? You know, so it's like, it's really about the moment that we're living in today. Yeah, it's true. We are the majority and people are showing a lot more light on the Latino, but let's make sure that the creative projects we're creating are actually something that will elevate and help the collective consciousness of the Latino, you know, like of the Hispanic, of the Chicano, of the LatinX, whatever you like to label yourself. It's like, let's really make that important, you know, and really like push that narrative, because the more that we educate ourselves, the more that we understand that we are stronger together. Yeah, there is a lot of different you know, I can be Chicano from LA, or Puerto Rican from Puerto Rico, or New Yorican, or I could be Mexican, or I could be Guatemalan. Yeah, there's a lot of us all over the place that speak Spanish, speak English, speak Spanglish. Some of us don't even speak Spanish. Some of us a lot of us that were raised here in the States have no connection to our roots, or where we come from, or where our ancestors come from. And it's like, I really want people to like ask themselves, like, who are my parents, and where my parents come from, or where do my grandparents come from, and where do my great grandparents come from, and like what is that lineage and that bloodline that I bring with me today in the present world, and how can I uplift their voice, or how can I use them and their voice to show light on that, you know what I mean? Because we get too caught up on like the idea of creating something just to be popular, or to be a celebrity, or to be, you know, to have views or likes or whatever you may have. But like, I saw this movie, it's called The Hand of God. It's on Netflix. It's an Italian film, and it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And there's a moment where this young guy, it's about the coming of age story, and this young guy, he wants to be a director. And he finds this master director who's like in Italy watching a play. He storms out of the stage. He runs off to like this cave, and like he chases him down. He says, "It's my moment to talk to him." This young kid is like, "It's my moment to talk to this director." And so the guy's like, the older director looks at the young kid and says, "Why do you think that you have to go somewhere to write the stories that you have right here? Why do you think you have to go all the way to the capital of whatever? Like, why do you think you have to go there? Look at around you. Look at all these lights. Every single light you see, every house you see that's lit up has a story. You don't have to go anywhere. Your stories are at home. You know, your stories are right here, right in your backyard." You know, if you've ever read Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, it's like he goes on this journey of a dream looking for treasure, and he comes back devastated, and the treasure is in his backyard the whole time. But that's just like, we have to go on that pilgrimage within, either within, you know, internally or externally, and find obstacles. And that's just the way life goes. That's the journey of life, right? But at the same time, it's like, you know, like, how do we get to that point now faster, right? Instead of like having to go through A, B, C, D, all the way through Z, how do we just get from A to Z? You know, and I think it's really in the responsibility of the people that have power, right? The Latinos that have power, the Latinos that actually have a lot of control in what we see and how we manage the things we see. You know, and I'm constantly asking that question. You know, I'm somebody that's always getting into like a how do you say, like, I'll get into a confrontation with someone, but not in a bad way, not in a negative way. It's more of like confrontation of challenging. Let's challenge the idea you just proposed. Let's challenge what you just said. Let's challenge and how to make this better. How do we expand this vision? You know, how do we really do like touch millions of people's hearts and open up their heart? You know, and I worked with a really great artist that said, all my job is to do this, Bobby, and if I can do this and open up my heart, then maybe the other person on the other side can also do this and open up their heart, right? But we have to open, you know, and that hurts sometimes. And so I think it's Rumi, a very famous poet, that said you have to let the heart break to let love in. You know, so there's a lot of tragedy and all that, but I can go off, bro. Like, you gotta stop me.
No. I want
you know, you gotta.
This is good.
Yeah, but you gotta.
I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to watch this and take down some notes.
I mean, because it really is like, the truth is, man, I really am passionate about my community. Like, I really am passionate about my people. I really am passionate about my bloodline. I really am passionate about my family. I really am passionate about where I come from, you know, telling these stories. Like, man, I'm just really also excited about like what's to come. As you said in the beginning of this conversation, there's so much happening for us right now. I just want to make sure, like, I think my responsibility as an artist, as a creative, as an actor is like, as a human being, like, how do I continue to guide my community in whatever way I can, in a way that's going to expand them again and progress them, you know what I mean? Help them however I can, you know? I constantly, on my last podcast that I was on, that I talked to some friends, and I was like, yo, and I speak out loud the people that helped me on my journey. Like, I say their names, you know, like, I'm like, this is Lisa Pacat and David Kaufman. I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always giving back. I'm always remembering where I come from, you know, and I'm always trying to like just give that answer to whoever needs it. Where do I go? You know, people ask me, where do I go to act, like acting classes? And I go, Kennedy Brown. Kennedy Brown. And I'll say it again, right? And it's like, go, like, find him, Google him, tell him Bobby Soto, you know, like, go, you know, because if you want to act, there's the guy I work with all the time. Like, that's not a secret. Like, we're all different. A lot of people like to gatekeep and, like, you know, like, not give the answers and, like, hold it and want you to work as harder, you know, like, want you to work as hard as they did. But I'm like, dude, just, like, we're all different, you know, there's no competition. Like, it's like, I can give it to a guy that's my age in my category, Latino, who wants to be an actor. Here's the thing. That's what I use. Like, you know, like, it's all, we're different, you know? And it's like a lot of people, you know, and that causes this disruption in the mind where it's like, I don't really want to get, like, you know, people start thinking like, well, we're not going to hire so-and-so because they're going to outshine me in the movie, or they're going to, you know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot of things like that, bro. It's a lot of, but it is also life in general. You know what I mean? And so we have to know how to just like, oh, cool. I see that card. You call a spade, and you know what it is, and then just move forward and know how to operate around whatever that thing may be, whatever that entity is. Whether it's a human being or an obstacle in your life, it's a situation you got to get over or get through. My grandfather used to always say, like, if you see a problem, if there's a wall, and you're trying to get to something on the other side of that wall, you can go through the wall, you can go over the wall, you can go under the wall, you can go around the wall, you break the fucking wall, but you get through. You know what I mean? Like, there's no. And like, also, Eva Longoria, who I'm very close with, she actually says something. We're doing this PR stuff for It's Flaming Hot, the movie, and she says something she told me over dinner many times. She said, if I ever hear a no, I'm talking to the wrong person or I'm asking the wrong question. You know, and it's like, there's always a yes. But see, those two things she just said are so important, because if you're asking the wrong question, that means you have to do some internal work. You have to ask yourself, like, why am I getting a no? Like, what am I saying? What am I asking for? Like, is this the right thing? Like, what is it? You know, like, you have to do some individual internal work. And then if you're talking to the wrong person, then you also got to be more aware of who you're surrounding, where your environment's at. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, this is the wrong person. No, it's like, there's more to that, right? There's more to, like, finding what you want in life, you know? And I always tell everybody I know, I'm like, let's go. You know, like, let's get it. Let's work. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not working, man, or if I'm not, like, in this creative process, or if I'm like, my life is shit. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, cause I have so much energy and I'm like, let's get it. You know what I mean? But a lot of times people are like, Bobby, you got to slow down, you know, like, be patient. I know patience. I can be patient. But when I'm like, yo, the answer's right there. Like, why does it take us so hard just to pick up the phone and make a phone call? Oh, well, because I'm brown, they won't listen to me. Or because I'm a guy, or they won't listen to me. Or, oh, because I'm like this. Or like, these fucking excuses, you know? And it's just like, just pick up the call. Like, pick up the phone and make the call. Like, just do it, you know? That line is so powerful. Like, it really is. Because a lot of people, tomorrow. We think we're living 1,000 years, man. Like, we think we got every day, you know? We don't. Life is like a blink. You know, we just got to, like, go for it right now, you know? Like, what is it that you want? Like, what do you want, right? Like, what is it? Like, what is it? Like, I always ask everyone, like, what do you want? And they go, I don't know. Well, fuck. I'm like that too, though. Like, I get like that a lot, you know? I'm like, I really don't know. Like, I'm in the moment. Like, I'm like, I want to do this thing, but I'm also want to do this other. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, make a decision and then go. You know what I mean? And then just see if it works out, you know? I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, you know, where he's like, he talks about, like, in your prime, in your youth, like, exhausted. Like, use every muscle, every bone, every piece of energy you've got, exhausted. Because once you hit a certain age, you're like, the body kind of starts slowing down. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yes, it does.
Yeah, right. We can all talk about that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the truth is, it's like, really, like, figure out what it is, that thing you want, and go get it. Like, that's it. Like, and everything is, like Shakespeare says, man, like, the world's a stage. We're all just players. You know what I mean? This is all just a game. Like, go and fucking get what you want. You know what I mean? It's like, and just make the phone call, like, pick it up, like, go, like, run the marathon, like, whatever, write the book, or, you know, write the screenplay, like, whatever it is, man. Like, I have a movie I wrote called Mundo. It's a short film. Mm-hmm. You know, it took me 9 months to write it, man. Like, it was like, I remember it was exactly 9 months, because it was like, I remember, like, oh, we're finally going to production to shoot this thing. on the 9th month, I was like, this is like having a baby. Like it took so long. The birth of something, you know, I can't compare it to a child being born because I would never understand that. But like the birth of something, it took me 9 months. If you told anyone it's going to take you 9 months to get from this to that, people would be like, fuck, 9 months? That's a long ass time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but I was consistent, you know, it's about consistency. It's about tenacity, you know. It's about hearing no and still believing in yourself and continuing the journey. You know, I mean, as an actor, we hear more no's than a person will hear. We hear more no's in a week than a person will hear in their whole life. That's just a real fact. Like we get constant rejection, you know, from like auditions to meetings to, oh yeah, we're gonna put you, we got a movie role for you, and you never hear from that person again. You know, it's always like, it's just how it runs. And you gotta have thick skin, man. You gotta be able to like run the marathon. You know, I'm blessed that my mother, you know, taught me never to give up. You know, always believe in what you want, and just go for it. You know, when I was a kid, I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, I was like 9 years old. I started acting when I was 10, and when I was like 9 years old, my mom like was on the internet. You know, internet's barely starting out. You know,
dial up.
Yeah, exactly. AOL and shit. You know, and she's trying to figure it out, like what this acting thing is. You know, and then she finds out about an agency called CAA. It's a creative artist agency, which is like one of the biggest agencies in Hollywood. They rep people like Tom Cruise, right? Like just a lot of people. My mom is like, you know, she gets all excited. She's like, what is acting? She has no idea what we're doing in this world, right? So she fills out some like, she like writes a letter and she like gets my little headshot in my, I'm like 10 years old in the resume, and she staples it and she like sends it to the building at CAA. As I'm 10, bro, and it's like, that's never gonna happen. Like the people that represent like these stars, that's never gonna happen. My mom's like, I don't know, we just try. You know what I mean? But like, my mom's like, we're just gonna fucking try and to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, but people look like we're from Los Angeles, South Central, man. Like I come from a background of violence and crime. Like I come from like gangsters. Like my family was in prison before I was born, literally. Like my grandfather was in prison in 1984, you know, for life without the possibility of parole. Like he was in Pelican Bay State Prison for 36 years. You know what I mean? Shoot program, 23.5-hour lockdown. Like I grew up with my grandfather behind a plexiglass, putting my little baby hand until I grew up, like measuring it. And I didn't touch him until he got shipped down from Pelican Bay into Corcoran, and I was about 24 years old as the first time, like, or 23. First time I actually touched my grandfather. Like the first time I ever gave him a hug, you know, from this fucking glass to a hug, you know, and like we come from that. Like I come from that. I come from like hustlers. I come from survivors, man. I come from people that didn't have anything. I come from immigrants. Like my grandparents on my father's side are immigrants. Mexican immigrants. My grandparents on my mother's side are Puerto Rican from the island. You know what I mean? Like they left the island when they were young, went to the Bronx, and then they came to LA. Like that's like, and then there's me, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm at this mixture of all this, but I look at it and I take all of them with me, man. And so like that dream of like sending a resume to CAA, like a massive corporation, a massive building, like the building itself was built to make the weak tremble. Like literally, like that's a fact. The building of CAA, yeah, bro, it's built. It's like the infrastructure.
I'm trying to visualize this right now. Like,
yeah, bro,
man.
it's a real fact. I was told, like it's a fact that it was built that way. The weak that come in and want to deal with them tremble, and like it'll weed you out because you'll get scared of the massive. Yeah. So my mom, coming from South Central LA, you know what I mean? Young, the three children when she was 16, like she's a teenage mom, like, you know, trying to hustle, trying to figure this thing about life out, and like sending a resume to this massive thing and like not knowing where it's gonna go. Fast forward like more than a decade, and I'm repped by CAA. You know what I mean? Like my agents rep. Yeah, my agents rep like Viola Davis and Julia Roberts and Meryl Streep, and like that's my category. You know, it's just Alden Heinrich. Like we have all these like, it's just, I'm like, was that my mom? Like she's just, you know, she manifested it. Yeah, like she manifested it. I was just there to do the work. You know, like I had to do the work though. You know.
Yeah, just this morning. I was boxed. Oh, this is crazy.
What happened?
Just this morning I was boxing, and then one of the one of the guys in my class was like, "Hey, bro, do you believe in manifesting things?"
Yeah.
It's crazy. Now we're talking about it right here.
Yeah,
I'm like,
bro.
oh, shit. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I believe in manifesting.
And they just bought a building across the street that's double the size. So you.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nah,
you.
go ahead. It's all good. Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, right? It's like, it's logical, right? I think it's logic. Like, you can manifest anything in your life. And there's a lot of this manifestation conversation online. Woo, woo, whatever. But it's logical. It's logical that if I believe in something and I do it, and I do it a lot, then eventually I will have what I want. It's just that simple. Like, if I lay a brick on a brick on a brick, and eventually I'm gonna build a house or a wall or whatever you want to build, right? It's just logic. It's like, what do I see? What's the vision? And it's like, boom, there it is. Like, everything we see in this room, like all this shit. Like, somebody thought about this cup design, and you thought about your little logo design, and now it's there, right? So it's like, that's a simple.
In there.
Yeah, in there.
Yeah,
and
I
tell my little
all
bro,
that shit.
you know, like right now there's like a big like surge on like people creating T-shirts. You know, like there's like a T-shirt wave. Like, there's so many T-shirt brands and so many like just so many clothing brands out there. And I tell and you know, I have a little brother and I have family that are youngsters, and it's like, oh, I want to create my own. And it's like, do it. Go make one. Make one T-shirt. And then you'll see the power of thought to tangible reality. Like, just make one. You know what I mean? It's like, you might not sell it, but you'll see that the power of like this thought now is there. You know, boom, oh shit. You know, it's like magic, you know? And so as long as we can do that in all levels of our life, man. It's really, I mean, we gotta sometimes, my sensei in my dojo said, you gotta slow down and catch up with yourself, Bobby. So,
you gotta slow down and, fill up the tank.
Yeah. Anyways, I know I've been talking a lot. You got questions,
this is good,
bro?
though. I'm like over
I'm
here
on
like,
a roll, dog. I'll just
give me
keep
a
going.
notepad. I'm gonna start taking down some notes.
Nah, bro, I'll
that's
just keep
deep.
going. Yeah,
no, that's good. Well, this is what it's about, though.
That's
like,
right.
I want you to just say what's on your mind and what's on your heart. Yeah. And I just be like, sometimes I get amazed with the conversations that I have, that I'm just like really just paying attention. Like, oh my God, this is pretty deep right here.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with adversity? Because I know you said, you get a lot of no's. Mm-hmm. Getting a lot of no's is like, oh fuck, it kind of defeats you, right? So then how do you deal with it?
I love it. I love it. I love obstacles. Just this morning, I was in a work session and I said turmoil. Turmoil to me felt like the word fertilizer. It felt like a fertile ground. I don't know why. It just came out today in my work session. Turmoil. And that the person I was working with, my coach, was laughing. She's like, turmoil, that's such a good thing. Because I'm looking at turmoil or problems and I'm going, oh, this is great ground to create something. So like anytime I meet an obstacle, I look at it like this is a beautiful moment, because it really is a chance for me to figure out who I am and what I want. So like right now, my union is on strike. The SAG-AFTRA is on strike, and no actors can work, basically. There's some films that are working that have got like agreements and all this stuff, but as an actor, there's no auditions, there's no like big movies happening, nothing like that right now. It's very slow for us, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going, cool. I was in New York City. I was there for something. This film Mundo that I had. Actually, no, I'm lying. I was there for Tribeca because I was in another film with Steve Buscemi. And that went to Tribeca Film Festival, and I was there in New York with a buddy of mine. And he looked at me and he goes, Bobby, this is a great time to do a play. And I'm going, fuck, I haven't did a play in a year. 2016 was the last time I did a play. I don't even know how to do them anymore. It's like, what? I put a whole play together, man. We had a big function. It was a good time. Had a lot of Latino companies come in, like Brown Soul Brewing Company, which just opened up in Southgate. They came and they served beer. We had Firme Mezcal come in and like they gave us bottles of mezcal to like sell for to help with the funding of the play. We had Israel Valencia, who's a really good friend of mine. He's a fashion designer, created all of our costumes. We had Eric Mancha, who's a painter, a famous Chicano painter who's just amazing. And he painted our like playbill. He recently painted my grandfather too, like out of love, man. We have like just Boricua empanadas. This company, this young woman who makes, this Puerto Rican woman who makes her own empanadas in home and in house, and she like came and she sold like pastries at our place. Like we had Brown and Proud, which I'm rocking their hat right now. Like we had them come out and they have like, it's all about like cultura, you know what I mean? Like they came out and they created their first collaboration T-shirt with us for our play to help, you know, fund our whole production. It was just a good moment, man. Like all these people came together and they loved it, and it was like, and myself, Clayton Cardenas and Andrea Londo, you know, Clayton's from, he's a big actor from Mayans, Andrea Londo's Narcos. Like these people that have worked on television and films came because they believed in the dream, they believed in the passion, they wanted to challenge themselves. And they both looked at the obstacle of the strike and went, well, no one's working, but we're working. You know what I mean? Like they look at it like, what are we really doing? Are we doing this again? Like from this, you know, going back to how I started, is like, are we doing this for views and likes and to be popular? Or are we doing this because it really means something to us in our hearts, and it really is about community and bringing unity with all of us? You know, everyone I just named, like they came because they loved the passion, the drive. They loved the idea of like coming together and building something together and having like this moment where we can all share, whether that's in food and drinks and clothing, or also in like in a play. And it's like the majority of the people that came to that play in our audience, it was a packed house every day. The majority of the people that came up to myself and Clayton and Andrea and said, this is the first time I've ever been to a play. And all of them are Latinos, okay? They're like, I never felt like I would belong in a play. Like, what's a play? Like, what? And they're just like, you know, they were like, their eyes were big and they were just so happy and excited. No one wanted to leave after the play would end. We'd go outside, we'd talk to everyone. No one wanted to go home. Like they want to kick it. Like it's a party. It was. We had music, we had drinks, we had food. You know, you got a show, you know, like all 3 Latino actors on stage, like directed by a Latina, written by a Latino. Like it's just like, what? Like this is possible? This is real? You know what I mean? And it's like, it wouldn't happen if I were to allow the obstacle to like shut me down. You know what I mean? Like no other Latinos in LA did what we did. You know what I mean? Or is doing what we're doing right now with at least art in the way that we function the whole production. Like it's not happening. Like I asked everyone, like where are the other Latino actors, man? Like where are the other like artists? Like where's the other ones? Where? You know? And it's like they're not there. You know, like a lot of these companies, even like talk a little bit about the theater world, like a lot of these companies are already sold out to like to serve a narrative because they need to keep the seats filled in to be able to pay their rent. I get it, respect, you know, but when you want to do something that's like passion driven or like beautiful for the people to like really understand and like see themselves on stage and to recognize themselves, it's like that takes a lot of effort, because a lot of times it's like if there's not a white man behind it, you're not going to get funding. You know what I mean? It's just hard. Because like the Latinos with power are doing their best, but they also need to like, how do we kind of share in this profit? Not money, profit meaning like energy or just being seen or whatever it may be, whatever that means to them. It's like a lot of times it gets diluted, man. And so like I'm fighting for like not to dilute our stories, not to dilute that, you know, like who we are, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of TV shows that got popular, all Latino cast, and I'm like, but what's it really saying, man? Like we're in a taco shop again? Like, you know what I mean? Like we're selling fucking tacos again? Like really? Like really? Like watch Mundo, man. Watch Mundo. Like I can't wait till the world can see it. Right now it's on a festival circuit and it's doing all that. But like, and I say it with pride because we just came back from New York City because our film Mundo, the one I wrote, it's a short film, it got into something called the Chelsea Film Festival, which is a very prestigious film festival in New York City. It got into the Holly Shorts, which is a very prestigious film festival here in LA. It got into these really nice, it went to Cannes, which is like a French film festival, a big deal. And everywhere we go, the audience just like, there's like a guttural response. Like people are just like bending over in their seats. Like not even a joke. I was sitting next to this dude, he's like, oh, because he's recognizing himself. And I always say like, you gotta feel it to heal it, you know? You gotta really, yeah, man, we gotta like go through these motions, you know what I mean? And if like, Mundo is specific because it talks about someone's experience outside of prison. Now, one of my biggest things, again, I said it earlier, like my grandfather spent a long time in prison. My mother's in prison. My mother's been in prison for 12 years now. Like the system in the United States itself has imprisoned ex-convicts, people that have served. Why don't we give them, like, you ask them, how much time did you serve? Like, as if they were in the military. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I served 12 years. I served 15 years. Like, fuck, you deserve a badge of honor for what you fucking gave. You gave all your time in your life to the system of the United States oppressed people. Like, it's like, what is it that they get? You know what they get? They come out, they don't get shit. They don't get any benefits. They don't get any programs. They don't get anything that helps them in a positive way to push them forward in life. You got to fill out an application. So, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, even though an inmate, they serve their time, their life is taken away from them completely. And it's like, and then they get out of prison and they still face prison. They're still in prison, you know? Like if I want to get a job, my dad did 7 years, okay? And he can't get a job because he's an ex-felon. So if he tries to apply to a job, you can't. When they try to apply to get a better home and somewhere in a nicer community, you can't, because you go through background checks. So like these things prevent you. So what happens? The ex-con, the ex-inmate, the one that has served, is now back in their community, now back with the same crowd, now back doing the same shit because they can't get financial gain from a positive influence or a positive job because they can't get it. And you know what they want you to do? Like, a lot of people go to construction, right? My family are construction workers. That shit breaks your body. Like, you just served your time. You've given your mind, you've given your heart, you've given your soul, you've given your body. You've given all of yourself to a prison system, and then you come out hoping to have something better for yourself, and you end up breaking your back, like literally breaking your fucking back in a construction job. And I get it, man. Like, they pay well, and I get it, but that shit is hard fucking labor. Okay. And there's not a lot of people doing it, man. The majority that I see are in this country, in this city, are Latinos. And the majority, because I used to do construction too. And they're like, they run like units. And a lot of my family members, you know, they've served time, they've come out, like they need a job, like that's where they go. Construction. Yeah, construction, you know? So I have a lot of respect for people that work hard like that, like a lot of respect. I see my brother-in-law every day tired. You know what I mean? Like, and he has a little bit over the weekend to like chill, you know, with his kids, but then he's got to go right back to work to sustain the life he's got. But it's like there's a conversation that needs to be had, right? And my way of bringing awareness to that is in acting and in film. That's what I can do, right? That's what the gift God has given me, and that's where I plan to do. So like, it's my responsibility to represent my community, my family, the people I've grew up with, you know, at the same time, break the mold of what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, oh, people think that, you know, if you grew up in South Central and you're Latino and you have tattoos, you're a bad guy. But it's like, there's a lot of people that grow up in a lot of neighborhoods that got tattoos and they look like bikers, and oh, he's a biker, or oh, he's a tattoo artist, or I don't know, there's fucking doctors nowadays with tattoos and lawyers and shit. Like, it's
Cops,
just
everything.
Yeah, you know, so like, why, you know what I mean? Like, how do we change that narrative? And in this film I wrote, and I acted in it as well with Clayton Cardenas and Otmara Marrero, Rocio Ibarra, and Eva Longoria, bro. Even like, talk about people that have great influence and really believe, and people with power and people at higher levels. You know, Eva Longoria read my script, and one day, took less than 24 hours, where she's like, I got it. I'm executive producing it. Don't ask anyone else. I got you. And I was like, really? Yeah, bro. I woke up to a text message crying because I'm like, she believes in me, right? And like, we need people like that. We need to believe in our people. We need to believe that you can do it too. You know what I mean? And she did. And then like Federico Cantini, who shot Flamin' Hot, the DP, shot my film for free. Because he read the script and he was like, yeah, he shot it for free. The people that colored The Master with Joaquin Phoenix and Paul Thomas Anderson's film colored my film. You know what I mean? The people that did the credits for Licorice Pizza for PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, did the credits for my film. Like, all of them are just like, I fucking love what he's doing. Like, we haven't seen this before. Now, mind you, my director still had to have conversations with all of the design departments, because they'll go, oh, in the beginning it's always like, oh, it's just a brown story. I've seen this before. Blood in, blood out. Oh, I've seen this before. You know, like American Me.
American Me.
Yeah. Like there's only 2 movies, right? Or Mi Vida Loca. Like it's only like 3 movies we can really like point, you know, or now The Tax Collector, you know, like what I did with Shia and David Ayers. Like there's only like 4 movies really, right? But I'm going, all right, how do we take that image and show the human side? Like how do we show the sides of us that we don't show because we want to, you know, quote unquote, you know, appease a certain demographic, you know, we want to appease like in the middle of America, you know what I mean? Like they want to see us with guns and like drug dealing and shit, you know?
Or just continue enforcing that stereotype.
Yeah, they want
it's only, you know, mi vida loca, and that's all we fucking do.
Right, exactly. And it's not like that, man. We're more than that, you know, that like we are good to each other and we are bad to each other. We're nice to each other and we're mean to each other. We're loving to each other and we're hateful to each other. Like, but that's just human, you know, that's just family. And we just happen to not have that version of us on screen yet. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to talk about the dark shit. Like, I want to talk about like what hurts us. I want to talk about like our traumas and our pain. Like, I want to show that because like, again, when people are bending over in their seats because they recognize themselves and what they've lost or what they've gained or what they could have had or their dreams, like, we have to show those things. That way people can feel it, you know, feel like they can recognize with it. And man, the response from all these festivals is after your movie, and this is fucked up, but it's the truth. After your film ended, I wanted the rest of the film festival to stop because I didn't want my movie to, like other directors were like, I didn't want my movie to come on. Like, it's just like, oh shit, you know? Yeah. And it's like, it's true. And it's like, it's because we're telling, and I'm like, why? Like, why is that? We're in New York and like, you know, we got Caucasian people, we got Armenian people, we had like Asian people, we had like just all different worlds and different cultures, different traditions, different people coming from, you know, the same world, which is film. They came up to me and they're like, and my director and the other actors are like, this is fucking, like, what is this? And it's like, well, they're just tripping. They're like, how'd you make this? Like, what? And they trip out and it's like, well, it started with me believing in it, but then it started with other people believing in me. You know what I mean? Like the community, right? Community is commitment. Adriana Santos, my friend, I gotta give her, that's her quote. Community is commitment, you know? And that's true because it doesn't matter where you come from or your demographic or where you were raised or what. It's about if you show up. It's about if you're there. It's about when you say, I'm going to do something, you do it, right? And these are the people that I found in my life. Like my friend is one of my friends from Tracy, California. This, you know, her name is Brooke Dooley. She's my producer, man. She's a white girl who's from up north, and she's fucking helping me on everything, man. I have Argentinian friends from Argentina. I have friends from Venezuela. I have friends from all over the place that are coming together because they believe in something, right? And it's like, it's up to us to also continue that passion, right? To continue that drive, that fuel. And, you know, in this film, it really is what it is, I think, is it's shedding light on a story we never see. You know, it's really showing, like, the difficulties someone faces when they're trying to redefine themselves. You know, it's like, who am I and what does my community or the people around me tell me I am? Like if they're different, they hit heads, right? Because they can be contrast, right? Like my family thinks I'm one thing or they want me to be one thing, but I have this other thing in my heart and in my spirit, like you know, and those things can really be forces that, you know, bump heads. And it's about like, yeah, it's about showing that, man. It's about how do I hold on to what I believe in and who I am, you know? And it's just like, and that's, I think, like a lot of life, right? A lot of life around us is like people are constantly telling us who we are. You know, I ask people all the time, I'm like, what do you, like, right now we're in this world of definitions, right? Define, like, what are you? You know, like, what, like, are you this? Are you that? Like, like, you got to be so tread lightly with things. And I always ask, like, people around my cousins or family members of mine or friends, I'm like, that are Mexican-American, I'm like, do you consider yourself Chicano or Chicana? And they're like, and some of them are like, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, let me break it down to you right now, right? Like, it's like, do you feel when you go to Mexico that you're Mexican? No. But we look Mexican, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like here in the States when you go places, like when you go to restaurants or when you go to like any kind of place, a public place, do you feel like you're welcome completely? And it's always like, not really, you know? And it's like, so I think what happens with definitions is it does give you a place to feel safe and a place to feel heard and seen, right? I can define myself as something. And I take pride in calling myself Chicano because I am Chicano. You know, I was raised, and I have parents and family members that are from Mexican descent, you know, and I have Puerto Rican blood in me as well, but I was raised in LA. And so I'm like, okay, this helps me define what I can do in the world of aesthetics, right? Because I live in a visual medium. I live in acting. That's a visual medium. They look at, I can never be other than what I am, a brown person. So now how do I use that to my benefit? How do I use who I am with the most positive and most utmost respect and honor? And how do I give that to the world? You know, and it's little by little. You know, the short film, the play, these things that I can accumulate together to give to my community, to the world. You know, then it's about like, how do I expand that on a bigger spectrum? How do we get more people? And I love, if you haven't seen, well, I don't know if I can talk about it because we're on strike, but there's a movie that came out about a superhero, a young Latino superhero, right?
Oh, okay.
And I loved it because I was like, man, this is great. It was funny, hit all the marks. Like, it made me cry at some moments. Like, I loved it, man. Miguel Angel Soto, who's actually Puerto Rican, who directed that film, he's a friend of mine. He's a great human being. And you're like, yeah, of course. Like, we need more people that understand the cultures, understand our traditions, understand the way we speak, understand that we're not always going to speak Spanish. You know, like, there's Spanglish a lot at home. You know, so it's like, how do we incorporate these things in a movie at a massive scale? Which sucks because it kind of feels like a setup, man. Like, the strike happened right when all of these great Latino films were coming out. Like, right when these Latino films were coming out, man, none of us Latinos were able to go and promote or use it or like be and rub shoulders with producers and get more of this like feeling of like, okay, we're here. We couldn't. It's just like, I'm in a film myself where I couldn't. You know, there's other films that I've seen that couldn't, and it's like, if it happened right there, like right there, and I was like, really? This is weird, you know? But you know what?
Big time.
But you know what? All those people I know, again, obstacle, none of them are going, oh man, fuck the movie industry. Nah. They're all going, all right, cool, what's the next one? You know, they're going, cool, what's the next one? Cool, I got this other movie, watch. You know what I mean? Like, they're like ready to go. And it's just like, that belief is the people I like to surround myself with.
So do you think that affected like the box office numbers?
100%. 100%. When you got somebody, when you got one of the actors, yeah, man, 100%. When you have an actor that's got millions of followers and he is banned from, you know, promoting his work, it's like, what? Like, what? You know, like, all his followers, they're probably not even aware. Everyone's on Instagram now. It's like, a lot of people, that's their news. Like, that's where I get my news, where I'm informed and educated about certain things and certain people I follow, and they're not gonna know. No one's on the television anymore watching commercials. You know, you're on streaming.
Everything's on your phone now.
Everything's on the phone. So it's like, you need that access, and they banned it, and it's like, damn, that's crazy. That's wild, man. Like, I was bummed because I'm like, man, I had a great opportunity to like do things with certain people, and it couldn't. You know, it's just like, But that's kind
of suspicious.
It's a little sus.
A little sus, dog.
But you know, it's all going in the right direction and in the way that it's supposed to, with the union and the way that they're running things and the way that they're doing it. It's all respect to that, you know.
So let me ask you this, because you brought up something good. The terms Chicano, LatinX, Latinos. Yeah. You think all these terms create confusion?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No. That's what I want to hear. Your really good speaker here, so I want to hear your thought process behind that, because I'm like, okay, why do we have so many fucking, you know, like, it's like it changes all the time. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, is that creating confusion on what we are, and it's taking away from our roots, or I don't know. It's a question I'm asking.
Well, I mean, dude, who created the word LatinX? Like who? Like, I think it wasn't. I think it wasn't a brown person. I think I don't know. I think I read something somewhere.
You're probably right.
It wasn't a brown. It was like, let's just all put them in. So why don't we just call ourselves X? Like, what the fuck is Latin for? You know what I mean? Like, just call yourself an X. Like, that's it. You know, it's like, I mean, that's my opinion, because I do define myself as, again, Chicano. I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, grew up in the States, but I am Chicano. Like, that's just, I've educated myself on that. I do believe that all of these terms, definitions do cause a lot of confusion.
Yes.
And it causes, more than confusion, man, it causes disruption between generations. Because now what happens is
Yes.
my abuela and abuelo is going, what the fuck is that? And you're going, well, school told me I'm this. And now you're having a conflict with your abuela and your abuelo about who I am. And it's like, the fucking abuela and abuelo is like, shut the fuck up, you know? Like, they're like, you're fucking Mexican, you know? You're Mexican American, you know? Or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
But it does, I like the perspective you're like, boom. Because I'm like, of course, man. All of these labels, just to like, kind of like, how do you say, like spread us thin, you know? So we're not all in one thing, you know?
Because then
We're powerful. Exactly, man. That's the truth.
that's what I was trying to get at. But I wanted your perspective because now I'm confused. Now I'm like, what the fuck?
What do you define yourself as?
I always define myself as I'm Mexican American.
Okay.
But I grew up in the Chicano culture because I'm from the streets. But I come from immigrant parents. My first language is Spanish. I was raised to speak Spanish. I was raised to eat home-cooked meals every day. You know, the Chicano culture came in because I started doing crazy shit in the streets. Okay? So I'm always very, very clear about that. Like, I'm Mexican-American. I'm Mexican-American, but that culture, the Chicano culture, which is now, it's like, damn, what is the Chicano culture? Is it the street culture? So now I'm like, okay, wait a second. I don't know. I think I'm in between.
Yeah.
You know, and then now you have the LatinX, and then you have all this other shit. And I'm like, okay, that's when people start creating subcultures, right? And now instead of for us being one whole, big-ass powerhouse, I think it's just, I don't know if it creates division.
It does create division, man.
So
you're right.
I think maybe it's done on purpose. But it's just my thought, my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, then you have people like, because then these certain categories have certain things that they like, how do you say that they promote, or that they like, it's just dividing the whole, all of us, man. And we're already divided. It's just alone, like, just like I'm Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Guatemalan, I'm Dominican, like it's already divided. Now it's like even more. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I used to get like audition and like this, like the little character breakdown on the paper would be like, oh, he's LatinX. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck does that? And then it's like,
No.
like, I'm like, I don't know what that is. You know,
Okay,
like,
I'm going to ask a question because
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
yeah, neither do I. You're asking the
Google that
wrong
shit,
guy.
dog. Google that shit,
I think
dog.
Latinx has to do with gender. I think, right? I think it has to do with gender. I think it's not even about like if you're Latino. It's just about like a Latino person and their gender. So you can like, it's all genders. I think that's what it is.
Oh, it's like an umbrella of it.
Yeah, it says a person of Latin American origin or descent used as a gender neutral or non-binary alternative to Latino or Latina.
See, so it's about gender. It's not,
Orale,
it's not
I
even
learned
about,
something new, eh? Because
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's not even about like being Mexican or anything like that. It's just about like your gender, being Mexican with your gender. So it's confusing. It confuses me. So I do try my best to educate myself in all of this. because
This is
I
the
don't
first
know
time
too
I
much.
ever actually Googled it or I've done any research on it because, I don't know. This is a new term. So, I mean,
I don't know.
whatever. But,
I don't know. Because
yeah.
now there's a Latin. Now there's a new word with an E.
What?
Look, Google it. Yeah, Latin with an E. They go Latin and then put an E at the end.
Fuck.
Latin, yeah.
Latin versus Latin.
Yeah, you see, there's a whole debate on it online.
So you identify as Chicano.
I am Chicano. Yeah, I am Chicano through and through. You know, because like the original word for Mexico was Mexico. You know, Mexica. It was it's like ch, you know, the X. You know, but the Spaniards and the conquistadores couldn't pronounce Mexicas. They said Mexico. You know, that's like, it's actually wrong the way we pronounce it. You know, there's a lot of shit in this world that we've been programmed to like get confused on, bro. Like, okay, example. You know the movie, this is a different example, but this is how simple we get programmed and like just like bullshit. So, you know the movie Pirates of the Caribbean?
Mm-hmm.
You know the movie Pirates of the Caribbean? So like, you know we're saying it wrong, right? Like it's not Caribbean. It's Caribbean.
Caribbean.
But you've heard Disney say it for over, I don't know how many years this movie's been out. Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's like wrong. And everybody goes, what the fuck? It's Caribbean. It's the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. You know why they say Pirates of the Caribbean? Because they're trying to use an accent that people from the Caribbean, how they pronounce Caribbean. So they're trying to make you like, it's actually very disrespectful. You know what I mean? It's like some other.
I didn't even know that shit.
Yeah, bro. But like, that's how easy, you know what I mean? And I saw a podcast even with like Kanye where he talks about, you know, you Google Black Panther and now you see the movie. And you no longer see like the Black Panthers, like the people that were like fighting for their injustices and shit.
You don't see Huey Newton.
Yeah, you see, you know, exactly. You see other things, man. You see other things. So like, it's just... You start.
This is crazy. This
yeah,
is good.
bro. So it's like, where do we start, right? Like, okay, we started this conversation with there is a lot more light being being put on like the Latino and what we can create. So now the conversation is now how do we? Now we know that know that we are the majority in this country. Like we know that. So now how do we take what we've got? Our education, our awareness, our life, our culture, our tradition. How do we take that and how do we expand it in a way that educates our people? Because it's our responsibility, right? It's your responsibility having this podcast to bring people in that have this conversation, which you do perfectly, man. I've watched your videos and like the people, what they're talking about and the snippets you guys have created online. It's like, yeah, it's funny, it's educational, it's beautiful, man. I saw someone talking about like, you know, substance abuse and like, you know what I mean? Like these things. So, and that guy, he makes the hats.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been trying to get a hat by him for a minute. He has a great
I just got my
supply,
tejana,
right? Yeah.
So I'm picking it up next week. I'm supposed to send one to my uncle that they're leaving tomorrow, but I think he's in London.
Oh,
so I'm like,
sick.
oh, bro, I got my uncle one, and it has the True Hustle logo on there. My uncle's like, oh, happy. Sí, mijo, mándamela.
Yeah,
Yo,
bro.
Like, boom.
I've been trying to get. I don't know why I haven't, but I'm because he does them all very individual. Specific.
Yes, everything is like custom.
Yeah, custom.
I'll connect you with him for sure.
Yeah, he's dope, man. And he has a mezcal too, right?
Yeah.
I know about that. Yeah.
Cool dude, man.
Yeah. But again, like, you know, it's up to us. It's our responsibility to, you know, to educate the youth, to really bring awareness to them. That way they you know, like. And if you do define yourself as Latinx or Latin or Chicano, whatever it is, like as long as you know, like if you're educated on it, you know, and you know how to move through the world with that information, you know, and how to like bring more, I guess, just more of that to your community, man.
And I think like for me and my platforms, I try to educate people as much as possible on finances.
That's right.
Because that's my space, you know. Did they teach us anything about credit, about taking care of your money, about not fucking spending your whole paycheck de un putazo? Like, there's a lot of things that weren't taught, right?
Yeah.
And that I think I educated myself on it, and I'm pretty good at it. So I feel like, how do I reach the masses? And I have the platform.
Right.
Put it out there.
Right.
It's free.
Right.
Absolutely free. You go through each video on my personal page, and I'm either talking about buying apartments, about taking care of your credit, about this is how I do it, this is how I did it, this is how I started from nothing. And it's like I'm giving you the recipe. So now you just made me think, can I do more?
Yeah.
I started doing speaking events.
Oh, wow.
Free. Bro, I'm not charging, bro. It's just like, okay, Q&A. Ask me whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping anything from anybody. Even when it comes to this podcast, hey, what do you use for it to look like that? I'm gonna send you a list. They're like, what? Really? Like, yeah, bro. You asked, and I'm gonna give you the list, and I'll tell you exactly what I have what I record with.
Right.
So
exactly.
I'm like, man, can I do more?
Yeah. We can always do more, man. We can always do more.
Now you got me thinking, bro.
That's
I'm like,
good.
okay, so now I'm like, okay, how do I do more? We go to these events, I do all this, you know.
Right.
You know, we do a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could step it up a notch and do more free events.
Yeah. I mean, man, we can always do more, man. You said But I want to answer your question. No, we are not educated on a lot of these things. You know, we don't have a class, and I went to Gage Middle School. I know we talked
what?
about
Yeah, Spartans, baby.
We talked about Huntington. I was raised in South Central, and then I went to Huntington Park, and then I made my way out here. This way, went a little bit more east. You know, but no, there is no classes that teach you. You know what I mean? And when you come from a background of immigrant families, it's really just about working hard. You know, like work as much as you can. Save your money and like pay the bills and like make sure there's food on the table and like have a little bit for like a party. You know what I mean? Like here and there, whatever, a birthday party or something.
It's safe.
Right? And yeah, exactly. You play it safe, right? And so that has been, you know, dropped down into like their children, which are, I would say, my parents, right? Mm-hmm. And it just, I think, man, it really, a lot of it has to do with the individual case by case, man. Like it just takes an individual's own like might, like their own, like what is, again, it goes back to my question, right? Like what do you want? The biggest lie we were told is that life is hard. Like that's the biggest lie we've been told, man. It's not that hard. We make it hard. But it's like, just, I know that I met the owner of Calaveras, the restaurant. Okay. You know the restaurant? Yeah. He's like 30, right now he's probably like 33, 34, maybe younger than that. Multi-millionaire. Okay, I don't know if have you met him?
My cousin's working with him right now. He does his promos.
Okay, multi-millionaire, this guy. I met him, right? He's a friend of a friend. And I was like, he's like, dude, I'm an immigrant. Like, I came here 14 years old. Like, I came here in a fucking back of a trunk. Like, I came here and I washed dishes and I worked at a restaurant. And it's like, but I didn't take, he said the difference between me and my friends is, he told me like this, he said, every time they went out to a party, I went to go eat with my girlfriend and I never drank, I never smoked, and then I just would ask the manager of the restaurant like how they did it. And like everywhere I went, every time I was on a date, every time I went out with my girl or wherever I was with my friends, like I would ask the person like, how do I do it? And they would drink. I never drink. Because I was always work. Now I make almost $100 million a year. And like I have all these restaurants. My whole family, they were opening. He had just opened one up, and I was there. His whole family was eating. They're all there. He's like, that's my baby, that's my wife, that's my family. Like, you know. And he's just like, you know, like I got everybody. Like everybody's like retired. You know, like my uncle's running that one, my cousin running that one. It's like,
damn,
man. And I just looked, and I'm like, how old are you? He's like, I think it was like 33 or something. I was like, what? I was like, how? And he's just like, it's just because I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it. You know what I mean? It's just I needed to have it. It come from nothing. So it's like it's just an individual case by case. And again, let's talk about where we're at in the United States, right? Kids and the youth, the dangers of what's happening is the accessibility to information, billions of fucking just everything on the phone. So kids are video games or phone, and it's like they're just not going and doing. I saw like a statistic like the decrease. There was a decrease of like teenagers or 18-year-olds that don't have their driver's license. Like a whole, like
really?
There was a whole fact. Yeah, just recent. I saw there was a decrease of like teenagers that are not getting their license because they'd rather stay home. Yeah, like they're not taking risks. What that shows me, they're not challenging themselves. They're not taking risks. They're not even trying to go out. I mean, why would a young guy not want a car to get, like, or like, just like, don't you want to go on a date? You know what I mean? Like,
growing up,
like,
I wanted my license so fucking
right.
bad. I got caught driving my dad's car without a license twice. I'm sorry. They towed his car.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, get your license, bro. And like fucking.
Bro. I was driving at 13.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, me too.
Wow.
I was driving like at 15 years old, man.
Yeah.
My mom taught me how to drive. But it's like it's just like those things, and I'm like, how? It's a monster, right? It's a monster that we're battling, right? People like us, right? We need more people like us, more of us going out there and speaking and like talking and educating, trying to like have conversations, at least something that even if it's for a fucking 20 seconds on the Instagram swipe, like you got somebody's attention, right? There's these things that we can do, right? But it's a monster that we're trying to fight, man. We know the story about, Goliath, right? What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
David and Goliath, man. There's a little boy with a slingshot, took down the monster, right? So there's a lot of things that we can do. It just takes the work and the effort to do it, right? And just to like have that platform. Kendrick has a beautiful line in one of his songs. It says, with that platform God gave you and you chose to do what? ? Question mark. Like, what is it you're gonna do with your platform? Like, what are you gonna do with that? And right now, everyone can generate a platform online. And it's like, what are we going to do? What conversations are we going to have? You know what I mean? So it's like, my favorite painting is the creation of Adam in the Sistine Chapel. I don't know if you're familiar with this one, but it's about the fingers, right? If you look at it very closely, the fingers, God's finger is extended, man's finger is a little bent, and it's like almost about to touch. But if you did the math and you saw that if this dude just did a little work, he could touch God, right? But it's about man doing the work. It's about us putting in the work. Look at the drawing, and like that painter he was showing us the secrets of life, but in religious paintings, because he was being, people were paying him to do, they were commissioning him to do spiritual work or religious work. And he had to find a way of putting the secrets to life in it, because he was a genius, right? A brilliant artist. And if you look at it at the same time, the cloth that God is being pulled on is actually the outline of a brain. Yeah, so that's also some information a lot of people have come to know. But like, it's like, because the power is in the mind, right? So it is what I tell myself. If we're also, think about this, if we're made up of what, like 75-80% water, right? Have you seen these like Japanese like videos online where like people have studied water and they talk to the water? Have you seen these things?
No.
So there's some videos online where they like go at a molecular level, like at a cellular level, and they talk positive words, and it's like crystallizes beautifully. And then they talk, like
to the
negative
water?
words to the water, yeah, and it becomes like poison, like toxins, and like you see it, right? And then it's like, okay, if we are made up of 75% water or whatever the number is on that, it's a lot, more than half. And I tell you constantly something, you're gonna believe it, right? You're gonna believe what I tell you. My dad's a great person like that. My mom too, like, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. It's like, you constantly believe it. So we also gotta be very mindful of how we speak to each other. Tupac said it in a song, right? He literally says it. He says, we gotta change the way we eat, change the way we live, and change the way we treat each other. It's on you, right? And then it's like, that's what he says, and like in the end of that song, it changes, right? Yeah, and it's like, but it starts with the base. It starts with eating. That's what, like, that Tupac is a fucking, to me, he was like a saint, man. Like it starts with eating food.
He's a true poet.
Like, what do you put in your body? What conscious decision are you making to put into your body? And man, I can't stress this enough. You go to Beverly Hills, it'll take you a minute to find a McDonald's. You go to South Central, you'll find a McDonald's in every corner, bro. Like, there's a McDonald's over there, McDonald's over here. Like, you'll find a liquor store you know what I mean? And I'll talk about the movie Boys in the Hood, John Singleton, who was trying to inform the black and brown youth of like police brutality, and like how there's a line in there with Lawrence Fishburne where he brings the youth and he's like, and he shows them a poster board, and it's like they're buying out their law and their land. And it's like, why? Like, why do they want our shit? Like, why are they coming out here? We don't even got anything anymore. But why is it? Because they're going to put up a gun shop. They're going to put up a liquor store so you can get drunk and then go buy your gun and then kill each other. But you go to Beverly Hills, you go to these nice neighborhoods, there ain't no fucking liquor store for miles. You won't find one. You'll find a wine and spirits store. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
a fact.
And if you did, it's going to be like somewhere in the sun, like it's going to be somewhere like, I don't know, hidden. Like, there's not a lot of these places, man, because it really is. Like, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I grew up on 58th and McKee between Gage and Slauson. I was 15 years old. Because of my mother and the blessings I was given by my mother and by God, my mother had this ambition and this passion to put me into something different. She's like, you're not going to get involved with gangs and violence and shit. Because I was already running around. Like, I had a big ass family. Like, my dad's got 49 siblings. My dad has, like, literally.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. My dad has.
That's a record.
So anytime I date a Latina girl, I'm like, wait, what's your name? Like, I gotta find out first, like, because it's always been like that. But that's joking around. But the truth is, like, my family of 50, it was like my dad has 50 siblings. Like, my grandfather from Mexico started when he was like 15 years old having kids. So like, he's just like wives everywhere, man. Like, hustler too, he's just trying to like, I don't know, he was pull-out game not strong. He was just fucking, whatever. But I grew up with I grew up with a really big family. And so I grew up with teenagers when I was a little kid, and people in South Los Angeles, and you're already doing drugs, you're smoking weed, you're drinking alcohol, you're tagging on walls. Like I'm doing that. I'm like little doing all this shit. So my mom goes, oh, no. This is not gonna happen.
Ni madres.
Takes me out, puts me into an acting class, right? I saw like I was the only brown kid in this class full of white kids. And the lady that was there, Lisa Pacat, she was really like, oh, it was like this moment of like, I'm gonna help this kid. Maybe she never said that, but now as an adult, I can see like, oh yeah. Like you seen this kid coming from South Central, shaved head, big ass clothes that don't even fit him. Like, yeah, there's something. Let's help. Let's just stay in the class. You know what I mean? Like, and she told my mom, she's like, your son can't quit. He's got to stay in this thing. And my mom's like, all right, if the white lady thinks you got something, like trust her. You know? Turned out like this woman is legit, straight up, like honest, genuine, real. I continued doing that, but I wanted to come back to my neighborhood, and I wanted to create this flyer when I was 15 years old about acting, and I wanted to bring that back into my neighborhood, man. And I went up to all the barbershops and I dropped these little flyers off to talk to, like, oh man, you know, just hoping that somebody would like call. And no one called. No one, what the fuck is this, you know? It's like this little teenager just like running around South Central, like, what is acting? Like, what is that shit, right? Like I was called like Hollywood at home, like, oh, you Hollywood, right? Because my family's like bald and I had a little bit of hair, like not less than you.
You had a
little bit.
one and,
bro,
and,
I had
and a shave?
Bro, yeah. I was a 1 and a 0. That's how, yeah, shit. Like that was my hairstyle, like all the time.
That was the ultimate gay junior high haircut,
yeah,
homie.
Bro, come on. Once a week, dog. It was like my dad. We had a barbershop down the street. It was like once a week we walked over and got a haircut. Like my dad still does a 1 and a 0. You know what I mean? Like it's still his hairstyle. But like
that was my hairstyle, dog.
But I did that because there's no arts programs. There's no art programs in South Los Angeles, man. Like that's the first thing they remove from these high schools, man. They take out the art program and then take out the sports program, and it's like, what are you left with, right? Like even Fremont High at one point, their whole staff got fired. And I think at Jefferson High too, like it just got fired because all the kids were failing. Like high school, no one passed. Like there was a couple of years where no one passed. And I think something happened like that at HP too, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know, but
yeah.
But Jeff had like, they even had like metal detectors.
Yeah, I mean, and like, what is that? You're setting up the kids for failure. Like a metal detector.
Shit.
I mean, I even question the way that the schools are built, bro. Like even the way the concrete buildings and like the gates and shit. I'm like, this is all a setup for prison. Like this shit's already getting the subconscious mind going, oh yeah, I belong locked up. Like it's like, what the fuck? Shit. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't even operate in school because it's not built for them. Yeah. It's just like this, the way the program to wake up at a certain time, to get into school at a certain time, to fucking eat at a certain time. Like people, the metabolism's not work. It doesn't operate for everyone in the same way, man. But it's like this is programming that we're just being funneled into, and you know,
it was so fucked up that when I got kicked out of Southgate High School,
yeah,
they were gonna send me to Fremont. They were like, all right, you got kicked out of all these schools, so now we're gonna send you to Fremont. I said, hell no, I dropped out.
How old are you?
I was 16.
Damn.
I was like, nah, fuck no. I'm gonna end up dead.
Yeah.
I said, nope, hell no. Dropped out for 6 months. Then I ended up going back and graduated. Yeah, I just
my
wanted to say
parents
that.
graduated from Fremont too. Both of my moms and my dad. Yeah. So like,
It was a tough school, huh?
yeah, I mean, from what I know, yeah. Like I never went there. I went there actually. Fast forward, I did this movie with Shia LaBeouf, and we made this movie and in South Central, and I told him a dream of mine was to bring arts to my neighborhood, and we did that. We opened up a theater company called Slauson Recreational Theater Company. We were there for about 4 years. We brought art. We brought Kim Kardashian, Shia. We brought Kim Kardashian. We brought like fucking Tim Robbins, John Singleton before he passed away was there. He grew up in South Central, you know? So like we had a lot of these big influential people that would come to our program for free. And we had the youth come in and like the community come in and like, this is something you can do too. And right now there's a movie called At the Gates, and it's starring Ezequiel Pacheco. Ezequiel Pacheco is a kid, he was younger at the time. He walked in at the park. We're on 56th and Compton, inside of the Slauson Recreational Center, a park right there behind the projects. Like the Bloods are right there, and like we went there. We were there for 4 years. Ezequiel walks in, and now Ezequiel is this lead of a movie that's like won the New York Latino Film Festival like 2 weeks ago. You know, like he's like, yeah, man, like he's already getting like, he's just someone I mentor who I love very much. And this youngster, I'm like, man. Like he just walked in one day. He was like, what is all these people doing here? And he just walked in. He's like, what is this? And he's like, oh, an acting thing, you know? Like, and he came in. Now he's like starring in his own film. He's a DACA child. Like, he can't even get out the country, man. Like, he went to New York City.
Shit.
Yeah, but he went to New York. Yeah, that guy right there. Man, his like, now he's like, Ed Harris is his mentor. Like, Ed Harris is like, if you know who Ed Harris is, like, you know what I mean? He got Ed Harris come to his mom and dad's shop in South Central, like 100 and something in Avalon.
Shit.
Yeah, bro. So, like, it's all about, like, trying to help. And, like, I'm always, again, we talked about it a little while ago. It's like, how much more, what else can I do? Right? What else can I do? And it's just like, well, I think how to answer that question is like, what am I good at? What am I good at? What are you good at? What are they good at? What is anyone good at? And then do it at the best of their ability. And then my mom always says, you got to collect friends throughout your life, man. You got to have a friend that's a plumber, a friend that's a real estate agent, a friend that's a barber, a friend that's a gardener, a friend that's a fashion designer. You got to have friends all, because in life, you're going to need all of them. And so then you look at, so then what I do is like, what am I good at? What is the gifts God has given me? And who are my friends, right? Because now I can expand that. And like, how do I get my friends together and make something with them and put them together in a room full of people? And it's also like the Japanese have this belief that whoever I introduce you to is my responsibility. So I have to also be mindful of who I'm bringing into the same room and how can they operate and collaborate together. Because if any disruption, any chaos, that's on me, right? Because I brought them into that world. And so now it's like being mindful of that. So that takes a lot of internal work, a lot of like individual work. But then again, it's like, how do I bring these people together and what are we going to create? You know, and it's like, you got to lead that ship. You gotta be the captain of the ship, man. You got to like, what is it that we want to say? Or what kind of mark do I want to leave before I leave this earth? You know, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? You know, and a lot of times, a lot of people, I think they get caught up in the world of like, well, my parents are nothing, or my family's nothing, or like, I'm nothing. Like, no one cares about my voice or who I am. Like, I don't have a story to tell. And like, nah, you're wrong. Like, you do have a story to tell. Like, your story, like your thing, your trials and tribulations, your path, like that is your story. Like, use it, you know, use it. Like, go, you know, again, like just fucking go. Because it's like, even if it is just a thought on a t-shirt, you never know where that can get you, man. I'm pretty sure like Obey didn't think he was gonna expand to Obey the fashion line. Like the guy was fucking putting up posters around downtown LA and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't know who was, you know what I mean? Like my grandfather was Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and like he became who he became in the prison system, you know, and it's like, how'd he do that? You know, it's just a lot. It's just ambition, his passion, his drive, his belief. You know, it's like, just like pinpoint what it is and then just go there, you know, and then go all the way. And if it doesn't work out, just know you're giving it your all and then change, you know, and then do something else. If it doesn't work out, then fucking go. But know that you did all of it. Know that you gave all of it, and then just move forward, you know, always moving forward, you know, and look at life and all the pain and trials and everything you've been through and thank it and bless it and be like, yup, thank you. Like, that made me stronger. It is a real thing, you know? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yup, that's true. Like, I got in a big-ass car accident in, like, 2016. I almost died. I should have died. Oh, shit, yeah, no I got crushed between 5 cars. Yeah, I broke my back and my ribs, everything. But and the doctor was like, you should have died. The doctor, like, ripped all my clothes. I woke up from the fucking, like, I was blacked out. And she's like, you should have died in that car accident. But God has given you a second chance. So live the life you're supposed to live. I was pins and needles, neck brace, whole thing, MRI scan, all this shit, fucking on a wheelchair, all this shit. But yeah, I was like on all of it, but it gave me a moment to like reflect, right? I was like, and I always tell my little brother this, I'm like, if you don't wake up, like if you don't ask yourself these questions, what do you want? Who are you? Like, who are you right now? And what do you want to say with your life? If you don't wake up, then something's going to wake you up, or somebody's going to wake you up. You know what I mean? Like, and those two things, they can be good or they can be bad. They can be something. But like, you know, before that happens, like prepare yourself, because life is always going to come at you. Just life. It's just life, man. We got to be like, you know what I mean? Like the Stoics, right? Like, all right, it's like anything that can happen will happen. You know, it's just life. It's just natural for shit. It's just to be it, whatever it is. Human beings it's natural for a human being to make a decision that doesn't go with your decisions, right? And like, it's natural. So when you look at all that, you're like, easy. That problem, cool. Let's take care of it. How am I gonna take care of it, right? And it's like, for me, I was on a path before 2016, that car accident, where I was like, okay, like what, I wasn't fulfilling my destiny, or I wasn't going forward with what I wanted. I was last. I had everyone I was taking care of, and then I was last. Like, this was how I was, like, survival mode. I had to take care of everybody, and then it was just like me at the end. And so then I used to write like pages of notes what to get done, and the last one was me. And then finally this car accident happened. I was like, what the fuck? I almost fucking died. I was unhappy, you know what I mean? I was only like 20 something years old. I was like fucking young as fuck, and I was like so unhappy, bro. And then I'm like, how do I? And then I just I had a shop, sold my shop, took off to Paris, never been across fucking Nevada, never been across Vegas at that moment in my life. Went to Paris, found this acting teacher, worked in Paris, did a play in Paris, came back, looking like asking God again, like, where's my next path? Fucking walk into a random ass dojo. I open the door, close the door, walk away. Sensei runs after me. I walk into the dojo, I train there. Turns out David Ayers, who's a director, owns the dojo and like trains there. I become friends with him. I don't even know who he is at the time. Like at this moment in my life, I don't even know who directors are. I'm like, oh, I just want to act. Like so narrow-minded. And then I meet David, and he's like, oh, training day, like End of Watch and Suicide Squad. And I'm like, what the fuck? We've been homies already these last couple months in the gym. Like, I didn't know you did all that shit. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. He's very quiet. He's very to himself. And so he did his first podcast on that John Bernthal thing, The Real Ones.
Okay, The Real Ones.
Yeah, that was a very good podcast for anybody that wants to just hear the mind of someone that's like really great at creating worlds, because that's what you do as a director. You create a world, right? And so, like, from one thing that's the next, and I'm like, oh, shit, now I'm, like, rep by CAA, and then I'm, like, going forward, and I'm like, oh, shit, now I have, like, my friends. Like, I look at my friends group, and, like, they're also people that I really respect. Like, Juliette Lewis, man, if you ever seen Cape Fear with Robert De Niro, or if you ever seen From Dusk to Dawn, like, people like her are in my friends group, or, like, like Michael Pena is in my friends group now, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm tripping out. Like, Eddie Alcazar, this badass directors in my friends group. Or, like, I got Gabrielle Wright, who's, like, this humanitarian activist, like, model, actress person who's, like, a great mind to, like, who works deeply with Deepak Chopra. And I'm like, how is that? All right, I'm, like, looking at all the things in my life, and I'm going, this is beautiful, man. Like, it took that moment, though, because I didn't do it myself. I wasn't moving forward with what I wanted in my life. So it took that moment for God to be like, wake your ass up, And for me, I always look at myself. When I was young, I was like, I'm like this bowling ball going down the bowling alley in like these little fences. Like sometimes I veer off, but God is the fence, and it puts me back on my path,
I think he's always watching.
Yeah, man.
He's going to tell you. He's done some things in my life that I'm like, at the time, you're like, why? I'm like, you'll see.
Right, exactly, man.
But you don't see things a certain way at the time, but then you're like, you look back and you're like, oh fuck.
Right. One thing I want to say too, before, I know I've been taking up a lot of time, but I take this as a moment to talk.
Keep going.
How much time we got left?
We're gonna keep going until
so
we have nothing to talk about.
One thing my mother raised me with, and I give a lot of props to my mom, because she was very much, and she still is, a very big influence in my life. And one of the things she always says was like, a closed mouth does not get fed. She always told me since I was a little kid. She's like, you can live the life you want to live, man. Like, do what you want. But if you don't speak up for what you want, you're never going to get it. So you better say something, And so that's how I live, man. Like, I see people and they go, oh my God, they freak out about somebody walking next door to them, like next to them. This is so-and-so, I have an opportunity with that person. Why the fuck you whispering in my ear? Go and talk to that person. I ain't that person. Like, I don't got go. And they don't. And then when they don't, I go, oh. This is someone that I'm like, I got to move forward from. I love you. You're great and everything. But, like, where I'm going, you need to be able to go, too. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be able to, like, yup. Like, what is the thing that I need to do to get forward, to move forward? Because we need all hands on deck. You feel me? Like, we need everybody, moving forward. Like, you need to have that energy. And if you don't, then that's cool. You have a place in the world somewhere, but not in my world, right? Like, you gotta move, Like, I got people that need to be seen. I got people that want to be heard. I got people that want to feel. I got people that are looking up to something. Like, I need to, like, be able to bring that forward. I mean, I don't know if it was Conor McGregor, right? He says something in one of his podcasts. He's like, well, I didn't just do this for myself. Like, I have so many people rooting for me. Like, I can't let them down. Like, what? Like, I get it. Being, last days ago and having these moments in your life where you're chilling and you want to be bored for a few hours, that's great. We all need rest time. That's fun. Yeah, of course. But get up and get to work. Like, keep going, And for all my creatives and all my Latinos that I love and respect so much, I'm like, let's keep going, man. Like, let's keep going. What else are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, we can fight a lot of wars and put out a lot of fires for a lot of other people and demographics and a lot of other, you know, and I get it. Like, everyone's problem, it's a problem for everyone, right? But we have a lot of responsibility for our community to bring in more of our youth, it's just, we have to gather and do things, you know, and make things. And it's hard, man. It's difficult, but it doesn't mean we have to give up. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that we have to just stop because there's an obstacle again. You know, obstacles are great. Obstacles are great, man. They really are.
Obstacles makes everything worth it.
There's a book called The Obstacle is the Way. And that's true, man. I saw a video too. I don't know if y'all saw. There's about skiers. There's a video about these skiers, and like a skier, when they go down a mountain, then their mind, you know, there's nature, there's trees, there's rock, you know. So they got so like a skier is not in their mind. They're not going as they're going down the mountain. They are not going tree. It was gonna happen. You'd have crashed to a fucking tree. But what they're saying is follow the path. They're following the path. Yeah. They're looking for the opening. So the obstacles are always going to be there. But it's like, okay, how to go this? You know what I mean? Like, it's like follow the path. So the obstacle is the way because it's taking you exactly where you got to go. You know what I mean? You just got to follow it and trust it, you know? And then the unknown is scary to people. You know, people are afraid of the unknown.
Big time.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
It could be scary.
It is scary, yeah.
You know? You're really close to your mom. When she went to prison, how did that affect you, and how did you get over that? Because you were young.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine, like, shit, it must have been difficult.
Yeah, man. We were homeless for a little bit. So how did it affect me? Well, my mom was, like, this is the truth. My mom was facing 25 years to life. And because of advice that I gave her when I was fucking only like 18 years old, or I think I was 19, she was like gonna go to trial. And I was just like, how do I help my mom? Like, that was my whole thing. Like, I didn't look at it like, it was devastating and all this shit, but I was like, okay, but what can I do? I'm fucking smart. Like, I can fucking do, like, what can I do to help her? So I started getting smart with the law, man. I started asking questions to her, like, appointed attorney, like her public pretender or public defender, you know? For real, man. Like, I started asking questions to figure out, like, how I can advise my mother in a proper way so she can actually take the, you know, a better route for her life. And thank God she did, and thank God I did, because then she got 15 years instead of 25 to life. You know what I mean? So it's less like my dad was battling like 25 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, but the law is difficult, man.
So they got arrested together?
They got arrested together, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the law is difficult, man. If the government says this, if you and I know this is gray, and the government says this is white, it's white. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the law in America, in the United States. It's just like, you know, you got it's really tough, man. But yeah, they both got arrested together. My little brother was very small at the time. He was only like 5 years old, and he was also taken. So he's 18 now, and he's like, man, I was locked up too. You know? And it's like, it's true though, you know, like, he was taken away and he was placed into a place where he didn't want to be, you know, and like, he just had to like just man up at 5 years old. That's fucked up to say, but it's the truth, man. Like, it's crazy. It's wild. But how did I mean, man, it's crazy because I look at it like it happened. It's like, how the fuck? Again, time is so fast, bro. I'm like, one moment parents are like, it's like that, and then I'm here. I don't know how to explain it, man, but it's like, I'm here now in this podcast with you because there's some substance or value to my presence on your podcast, right? Because of the artist I am and the things that I've done. And so, like, from there to there, man, like, I have family members for years being like, he's never going to do anything with his life. Like, I was the black sheep, you know what I mean? But I fucking pulled through, and those same family members are in my DMs, you know? Like, oh, my friend doesn't believe me that you're my cousin. Can you add me on Instagram? And it's like, yeah. Yeah, I have a lot.
Hey,
I have a lot.
I
of
was a
that.
black sheep too, dog.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay, dog.
No, I
I got
was.
a lot of motherfuckers in my DMs.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I do is I do it. All right, like if that's gonna give you some substance or some value or whatever you need for your own world, I'll follow you back. You know, oh, you want a picture? Let's take a picture. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, because I don't hold anything. Right? There's a quote in the Bible that Christ says, and he says, does that weight on your shoulders lessen as the days move on?
Dang.
And it's like, no. So let it go. Right? So like all of the people that have ever done me wrong or done my family wrong or anything like that, man, I'll give you a big ass hug. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm the better man, I think. I'm the bigger man in this situation. I'm not going to hold some bullshit against you. Like, what's up?
How about the aunt?
The what?
Your aunt told you on Christmas Day.
Oh, you heard the podcast, huh?
So she said on Christmas
funny.
Day.
It's funny. It's like you read my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, because how do you forgive
Right.
somebody that did that to you at such a young age?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to. I'm gonna let you tell the story.
I'll tell it. Yeah, my parents got locked up December 6th. On December 25th, that same month, an aunt of ours came by, and she was like a representative for the family, and she told all of my sisters and I, it was just my sisters and I who were like sitting in a fucking living room, like just not knowing what to do on Christmas Day. I remember the fucking food was shitty too, because like it was just like my sisters were trying to cook, and it's just like, you know, you don't have love in it. There's no love. Like your heart is completely shattered because you're just like lost in limbo. Like, what do we do? And so my aunt came and she's like, yeah, you guys are old enough to handle your life on your own. Don't come looking for the family. Don't come calling the family. Don't come anywhere near us. We have nothing to do with you guys. Yeah, like we got our own skeletons in our closets, and we don't want people snooping around us. So like, good luck with your life. And so my sisters and I were like, she was there for like 5 minutes, said that shit, and walked out. And I was like, what? Like I was like, what the fuck? And my sisters were like, we didn't know what to say. We're just so like, what? Okay. Like she walked out, and so we didn't. And so we didn't reach out to none of them. And how do I get over it? It's funny because when I was telling just now, like hugging the people that have done me wrong, that's who I was thinking about. And it's like, yeah, and I like, there was a family event. I'll tell you the story. There was a family event, and she was sitting on the opposite side of the hall. It was an uncle of ours' 50th birthday. And we, like a lot of my family spread out, and this is like now 10 years have passed or more. And we don't talk to them or nothing. So then we get to the other side. Like, I see my little brother, and my little brother's like, you know, he's growing up in, well, you know, rap music and like fucking like has his attitude like that, you know. And so I'm like, I look at my little brother, and at the time he's like 16, or I think he was like 16. And I look at him, I whisper in his ear, I was like, hey, you think you're a gangster? And he goes, man, I'm a gangster. And I go, you know, all right. So if you're a gangster, go over there and go give her a hug and tell her, hey, everything that happened, it's okay. That's what a gangster would do. Fucking like, you grab your fucking balls and go. You know, like that's courage, that's strength, that's power. You know, being able to forgive someone is power, I think, you know, because you heal that shit. And my little brother was like, nah, fuck that. She don't deserve a hug from me. And that's cool. He's a young teenager. Also, what am I doing as an adult fucking putting that onto a youngster, you know? So I had to check myself in the moment and be like, you know what? I'm also projecting right now because that's what I want to do. So I was like, let me show my brother and my family who's with me about forgiveness. And let me show them what I can do. And so then I walked right over there, and she was standing by the exit, like the table that my aunt was at an exit. And I walk right over to her, and I tap her on the shoulder, and she sees me, and she was kind of like she didn't want like.
Oh, she did one of those?
No, she one of those things. And so then I said, I gave her a hug. I said, I'm going to give you a hug. And I gave her a hug, and I said, everything that happened in the past, it's okay. We love you. Tell your family and everyone that we love you. And thank you, because it made us who we are today. So thank you. And then she was like, she didn't know what to say. She's like, okay. Like, that's it, you know?
Are you welcome?
Yeah, it was like, okay, and then like move, you know? And I was like, cool. But I did it, and I walked away. My family was like, you're fucking crazy. Like, why did you talk to her? I was like, nah, man, because now we know. Like, that's it. like chapter closed, move forward. You know, like there's no need to hold on to that shit. You know, if they invite us to a party, we're not going. But you know, it's just like, you know, you feel you forgive, and that I think it's a very powerful thing.
And that was the last time you seen her?
Was it the last time I saw her? No, actually. Her daughter, before everything happened, I'm a godfather to 3 girls. So like since I was like 16 years old, I fucking baptized 3 of them. Yeah.
No fucking
Yeah,
way, bro.
Yeah, when I was 16, I baptized all in 1 year. I baptized 3 of my nieces.
You're the youngest padrino
Yeah,
ever,
bro. Yeah, bro, the truth. I have 3 goddaughters, and one of them is her daughter. And so yeah, so I'm 16. So when she graduated college, my goddaughter invited me. She's like, if you would like to come, you know, and I said, yeah. And then, you know, nothing like it's not her that did it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like the children don't have to pay for the parents, you know? And so I was like, yeah. So I went and she was there and down the aisle, whatever. So down the road. So, I mean, we said hi. It was just like a hi, you know, but it wasn't this like hi weird thing anymore. It was more like, oh.
Do you think she wants Flaming Hot?
You know what? I mean, my whole family, man, it's funny because, like, even in the prison system, like, all the, like, COs, because they know who my family and everything, they all, like, know who I am, too. And so a lot of, like, correctional officers, I'll get, like, DMs and shit. And, like, saw the movie, bro. It's good. I'm like...
It's good, fool. Everybody's ordering their fucking Flaming Hots on, what is this shit? On
Commissary.
Yeah. Because they go in to do their list and shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
damn, fool.
The hot Cheetos is how you...
sales.
That's how you spice shit up, bro.
Hell yeah.
They actually, you know what's crazy is like since that movie, Hot Cheetos, like they fucking skyrocketed their sales, bro. And like in the number that Richard Montañez told me, who created the Hot Cheeto, like in a number that is like unheard of, you know. And they didn't give none of that profit goes to the movie. Like there was no like
no way.
No, because there was no it wasn't about the Hot Cheeto. It was about the guy's story. Yeah, so it wasn't about the Hot Cheeto, even though it like fucking helped them in their sales, which is crazy, man. And I talk a lot about this because it's like this, the Latino power is powerful. Let me tell you this little story, man. There's a theater house called it's called the Mark Taper Forum in downtown LA, and they did a play. They did a musical called Zoot Suit, and Edward James Olmos originated that character of the Zoot Suit back in like the 70s. It's on HBO if you watch it. It's a really good fucking piece. It's a really good musical. It's about a real story of these Chicanos, these Zoot Suiters who were accused of a murder that happened in Riverside. And so they made it. This guy, Luis Valdez, he wrote a whole musical around it. Edward James Olmos, he performed it. It's a beautiful piece. Fast forward, Damien Bichir, Oscar-nominated actor, does it, right? He puts it up at the Mark Taper. This is about, I want to say like, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. Packed house every night. And that performance, that production was the least. They never advertised, that theater company, that theater house, never advertised, never put out any posters, never told nothing. But they had the most gross income than any other play they've ever done. Why? Because Latinos show up. Because Latinos do show. We are there in the masses. We do have the numbers, man. We do. And so like, but they didn't tell anyone that because they don't want... You don't know that, because then you know that you have the power to be like, yo, my people will show up to my movie. Like, they will show up to my show. Like, they will come.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And they will support each other. And we will back each other up. And, like, community is commitment, man. We will show up, man. We will be there. And so, like, we have it, man. We have it. It's about telling the right story, I guess, you know, or the story that really affects you. And, of course, man, educate yourself, right? If you're going to make a movie, learn how to make movies. Like, learn the greats, learn who make films, learn how they shoot it, learn how the camera works, sign up for these programs. Like, the Sundance Lab has a big program for anyone that signs up. You just sign up and apply. Like, get into writing. If that's what you want to do, right? Yeah, the Sundance Lab. That's like a big online program that's where I started working on my short film with them. And they have a lot of opportunities, but we don't tell people this, right? I mean, no one tells us this, right? So it's like, I'm saying it now, you know? But like, but educate yourself on how, don't just like YouTube video, like go and do the thing, like do the work, right? Like it's gonna take you some time to get educated on whatever it is you wanna do. Put in the time, put in the work, and then make it happen, man. Learn how to make something that you wanna make and go and do it. Learn about how like t-shirt brands, how a lot of these people, these companies, they'll be like, oh, they have a way of going, oh, this is a limited edition. I only have X amount. And then we're closing the shop. And it's like, oh shit, you get the hype up, you sell a shirt, but you actually got more in the back. But you just selling, you know what I mean? Because that's how you make your money with. But that's just the company.
Or this a sale till Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's
the 2-for-1s,
ways,
and then it's like, oh, it's almost the same shit.
right. And it's like, but there's ways of learning how to expand your brand, your business, man. And it's just like there's a lot of these companies doing it though, too. You know, I'm educating myself on like these mom and pops like shops that are really making a lot of shit and a lot of stuff I don't know. A lot of stuff. I mean, there's billions of people or millions of people online that I'm like, I don't know what everyone's doing, you know? It's just like, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like Pachuco Supply, or like there's a lot of like, or like Paisa Boys, which is a really cool t-shirt brand, or even like, I mean, Born and Raised did it right, man. Yeah. Born and Raised did it right. They really did, man. Rest in peace, Panto, you know? Like, he really knew what he was doing, man. And that's like from like gangster to survivor of cancer to fucking mogul. Like he's just boom, entrepreneur, you know?
Wow, that's just a sad story right there.
Yeah, man, exactly, man. Exactly.
But that just shows you how just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. That's life, man. But it's fucked up. But yeah, man. Anyway, I think I took too much of your time. You can cut me off whenever you want.
You say some powerful stuff, man. I can't cut you off. Like, I'm all into it. Like, you know, like, shit, you got me on. I do want to know this.
Go ahead.
You know, I watch Narcos, right?
Yeah.
I watch it like 4 times. I really don't watch TV, but
yeah.
You know, I think that was our quarantine show.
Yeah.
Like, you know? And then I watched it again and again and again.
Yeah.
How did you land that role?
Oh, man. Actually, how did I land that role? Well, it was a weird process for me. Eric Newman, who's one of the creators of the show Narcos, he called my reps, and he was like, hey, he saw the tax collector. And he's like, I have a role for Bobby. I come into his office. They had an office in Santa Monica or Venice or something. And they like, the whole team of Narcos was there. I was like, I'm green. I'm like, I just did a movie, but I don't really know a lot of shit right now. And so like, they have like all these pictures of all the actors around the room, and all these characters are playing, like the picture and the real person, like the actor and the real person, like side by side. And then they show me a picture of David Baron, and I'm like, I don't know who he is at the time. And so they're like, yeah, and they gave me the whole lowdown about his life, and they're like, we would like for you to play him. And I'm like, really? Like, y'all didn't even audition me. Like, and they go, yeah, but we saw your film, like, we would like you to play him. And I'm like, well,
without an
audition,
no audition.
Well, they told me like that, right? Eric, he's telling me this, and I'm like, in the proper channels, you have to go to the proper channels. So, because somebody can promise you something, and then it never happens, right? Until it's signed and it's on the dotted line. So what you do in this world is like, oh, I want you to do this thing. Cool, call my rep, right? It's like, call my agent, call my manager, like, tell them that, and then write a contract, because you're not going to hype me up, and then I'm all excited, and then it doesn't happen, which has happened many times to me. Yeah, so then I get a call from Carla Hull, who's like the biggest Latino film casting director and film and television casting director in all of Hollywood. Like, her name is Carla Hull. And she's somebody that every Latino that's listening to this, like, reach out to her, because she helps build people's careers. She believes in people, and she really does. And Alan Luna, who's another casting director, both of them are Latinos. Both of them are doing all of the Latino projects in Hollywood right now. And so, like, if you want to get in, reach out to those people and, like, do it respectfully and, you know, in the proper way. But Carla Hull contacts me, and I've known Carla since I was about 13. And so she contacts me, and she's like, hey, they want you to read this scene for this character. And I was like, okay. So I had to audition. Even though I had all those meetings and all that, and they called my agents and all this stuff, I still had to show them what I can do. And so I went into the room, I did my work,
and there was a scene that Michael Pena did in the previous season, but the season hadn't came out yet. But I had the sides of like Michael Pena's character. It wasn't even Barone. It was a whole other character that I had to just like work with. So I was like, fuck it, you know. And I went in, I did my work. I hadn't seen Carla in a couple of years before that because I went black. Like I went dark, I guess you call it. Like I didn't act for 6 years. From the moment my parents went to prison to like the tax collector, I wasn't acting. Like I was just living and surviving. And so then I auditioned and Carla looked at me and she's just like, you've grown so much. And then a couple of weeks later, I get the call. They got me the job, and then I was like, "Shit, I gotta learn Spanish," you know. I was like, "I Spanish words and shit." And then I was like, "All right, like I can do it, but like to think in Spanish is when you really know you've understood the language. When you think in any language, you know what I mean. Instead of thinking in English and speaking in Spanish, is different. So like my dialogue on that character, there was like minimal dialogue, but I made it even more minimal because I shortened it up even more. Because I was like, nah, my character wouldn't say that. And I was like, just to help myself to get out of it. I was like, fuck. But at the same time, it kind of worked because it was true. Like, yeah, if I have one or two words, it's more powerful than having a whole fucking sentence. Like my character just it has more power, more weight that way. And so I really wanted to respect, you know, the Barone family and all of them. And I did. I went down to Tijuana and met somebody that actually was in like prison for 20-something years because he was right-hand man to David Barone. And like he was really nice to me, gave me a lot of information, a lot of like stories, you know. And I was like, all right, this is, you know, like you carry this with honor and respect because you are telling the true story of a real person. And of course, TV shows and movies are theatrics. You gotta heighten that shit, right? Yeah. But it was fun, man. I loved it. Like I'm still really good friends with all of them, the directors and all of them that worked on that series. They all come from like high level, prestigious festivals and like award ceremonies. Like they're big time, and they all went and did a Narcos series. You know, it's just like the level of people I was able to work with, from actors to directors on that show. Whoa, man, like they just, you know, it's TV, it's Netflix, so you have to put it in a specific kind of shape. But like working with them was great, man. Like there's a lot of scenes that didn't make the cut.
No way.
Just because it's like for timing or because it doesn't really go with the flow of Netflix and how they sell their shows and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it was fun. I love that show, man. It's a great project.
That shit was dope.
Yeah, it is.
It was filmed in Mexico?
In Mexico City. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
How was that experience?
No, they built a whole airport. Yeah, bro.
What?
Yeah, they built a whole airport in
just for that scene or for certain? Dang.
Where they're all shooting each other when we're shooting each other at this. Yeah, they got like. It's Mexico, man. They built a whole airport. It was a real. There's shots in the series where they're shooting like airplanes, and like they had 3 departments of cameras. Like one was shooting in the parking lot for some scene. We were shooting on top of like where we were chasing after them, another scene, and then they're in the back of the parking lot, in the back of the building was like a whole like runway, like a whole. Like they were taking off flights, helicopters were taking off, and they were filming it and all kinds of shit. Like there was all kinds of things happening all at once.
What?
Like they used it, right? They didn't just built it for one scene. They used it for a lot of things. But like they built the whole thing. Yeah, bro. Shit. And we were in oh man, I forget the name of the city. But we went. But like after COVID, well, Mexico's wild, bro. Like actually, like every actor is walking around with like a bodyguard. Like everyone's got somebody with them. Like every actor. Like you walk from here to the bathroom, you got somebody with a bag on them. Like they got a bag with their firearm and they're walking with you.
And that's because And that's because that was just protocol for everybody.
For everybody.
It don't matter.
There was a
the location scout.
There was a that got killed, right?
He got killed because he was in some territory. What I've heard is he was in a territory that he shouldn't have been in, and people think that he saw something. I don't know what it was. Like people, like there's this conversation that people have, right? Like he must have seen something and they didn't want him to know or some shit. I don't know, but like that caused a lot of like people. Okay, you gotta take very.
I didn't even know this shit.
Yeah. Location scout. He was looking for like places to film, and then he went somewhere and they killed him, and so somebody killed him, a cartel or something. I don't know.
Oh shit! So it had all you guys on edge then, right?
Oh yeah. There was like, a moment where like I was recently in Mexico last year, And all the time, every project you do in Mexico, you always have guards on you, security. Like, it's just how it is. Like, at your trailer, opening the door for you, closing the door for you, like literally walking to the bathroom, like get in the car with you. Like when you're shooting your scene, you know, so when you're shooting your scenes, there's like they're off there in the distance just watching you. You know, like it's always like that. And at one point, we were coming back from afar. I forget what city we were in, but we were driving like it was like 2.5, 3 hours to get back to my place where I was staying in Roma in Mexico City. And I had this guard. He was in the passenger seat. Another guard was driving, and we were on like this lane that had 2 ways, and there was a car that was on us for a minute. And so I'm like, this is like 3 in the morning, and I'm fucking tired. I had this whole scene. I worked a lot. So I'm in the back, I'm like exhausted, but I hear like my guard and the other guards are kind of talking to each other, and like I can feel the tension. And I'm like, what's happening, right? So I kind of wake up, and I see my guard because we're coming to a stop. And this car that's behind us, I look, and there's a car behind us, and he kind of pulls over to our side. And the guard, he's in his seat, and he unzips his bag, and he points his firearm at the window, at the door like this. And he's just waiting for if this fool jumps off, he's going to unload on him. And I'm in the backseat going, oh, fuck. You know, like this shit's, they're going to, like some kidnapping or some shit's about to happen right now. Like I'm tripping, you know? And so they're tripping too. Like they're on edge, you know? They're fucking like ex-military, all this shit. They're like all these guards that whenever big people come, they're like the people you hire. And then he calls like another car. He calls a unit, and boom, a unit pops up behind that car. And then boom, a unit pops up in front of his car. And then like now it's like 3 of us, and they've surrounded this little car. And now we're going, and my guard is still like this, waiting. And then to see if other cars come with this guy. And then, but nothing happens, and they just let the car go. And then by the time I get to my place, there's like 4 units with us. Like 4 of them, like they jump off. Wow. They all park. I'm the last one that parks in the middle. And then they all jump out of their cars. They come to my car, and I'm like, and I'm still kind of half asleep. I'm like, what the fuck is happening, bro? And it's like, you're good, Bobby? And then like, I got to walk in, put a code in, this whole shit to get into my room. And I get in, they're like, all right, have a good night. And I'm like, all that shit for me? Like, it was wild because they had some like tension that they felt something was going to happen. Yeah, but like that's just but that's just the risk you take, like, you know what I mean? Well, their concerns is like, you know, we don't want anybody getting kidnapped or like I mean, it's just not, you know, but
that's just crazy. It's different
but
over
like
there.
but Mexico City, man, Mexico City is not Mexico. Like, if you ever been to Mexico City, it's like New York and Los Angeles. It's like it's a city that's up and coming. It's lively. It's restaurants. It's beautiful. Majority of the people are speaking English now, bro, because like a lot of, like, they said it. There was an article that came out recently how Mexico City is becoming like the new Manhattan and shit. Like, yeah, because so many people, Europeans, Canadians, United States.
So I'm gonna go film Peso Pluma on the 10th.
Oh, sick.
I told him to go, and he's like, I don't know.
Mexico City?
Yeah.
Where you guys? Oh, he's gonna go to Mexico City?
Well,
I saw the whole thing about him like not wanting to go to Mexico anymore.
He's doing 3: Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico.
He's doing.
Well, we were at his concert on Friday.
Okay, cool.
And shit was crazy.
It was fun.
Oh, it was fun. That kid brings it.
My homie Eric Mancha painted him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That kid brings it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a difference between being a singer and a entertainer.
Yeah.
This dude has both. Like,
Really?
This shit.
Were you guys like up front and center or what?
Oh yeah, we're backstage.
Really?
We're like,
Damn.
Had an extra ticket, dog.
Yeah, TFTI, dog. I would have loved to gone to fucking Peso Pluma,
bro.
Peso Pluma, yeah, he did a music video with my homie Ricky Alvarez with Becky G. That music video they shot together.
Oh no
with
way.
the little guy on the horse and all that. My homie had just shot that recently.
November 10th.
What's up? You trying to go to Mexico?
I'm down, bro. Don't tempt me because I love Mexico City, bro. I
He
love
knows the city.
Yeah, I know. I've been there like 5 years back and forth. I lived there for a while.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so all that said, bro, like that's just some like people were tense or whatever. It's late night, you know, it's a suspicious car, whatever. But like the place is beautiful, man. I love it. Like if you like food and if you like art, that's the place to go because they have the best. They rated her. There's actually a Mexican chef who owns a restaurant called I forget the name. It's one of my favorite restaurants, man. Fuck. Anyways, she's named like the world's best chef.
Oh,
And
no
yeah,
way.
and it's like this Mexican woman because I gotta remember the name, man, but it's one of the best restaurants in all of Mexico City. But like, if you like to eat, that's the place to go. If you want to be around just like different people, that's the place to go, because there's so much to do that, you know, it's like, there's a lot, man. But again, like I was like, yo, maybe like the Mexican people don't gotta go to the States anymore, because like it's coming here. Like it's going there. Like you go to restaurants, you're playing English music. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't know right now. It's too fresh for me to know. You know, like I see that the Mexican people are getting good tips. They're getting good money. Like that, you know what I mean? It looks like it's going well for them. Like they're making money off of that. But it starts becoming a problem when like you start seeing a lot of like the Beverly Hills kind of shops popping up, and you're like, where?
They got Gucci stores, all that
Bro,
shit, right?
yeah, in Polanco. In Polanco is like where all the rich people
Polanco
live.
is like...
Polanco is like where all the like the rich people live. Yeah.
Dude, I told my wife this morning, hey, on November 10th, I'm going to Mexico, Peso Pluma.
Cool.
She's like, the fuck you are?
Yo, you gotta go to the pyramids, the Aztec Empire, like the Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid of the Moon. Yeah, exactly, bro. Like it's beautiful, man. Like you're Mexican, so have you never been?
I've never been to Mexico City.
Yeah. That's why, like, you got like that place is so. It's like a vortex, you know. It's a beautiful place. I mean, to know your ancestors and all that. You know, so it's like, I love Mexico City, man. Like, I was going to go for my birthday recently. I didn't make it out there, but like, it's just a place that I really.
We might have to go.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I would go. Where's he going to play at? In what arena?
Soul something. It has Taylor Swift performed there recently.
Oh, damn.
So it's
I hear Taylor Swift gets down too, bro. My nephew from Southgate was like, yo, Taylor Swift gets down at her concerts. You know, I'm like,
No
really?
way.
I was like, I heard that too. He's like, yeah, bro.
It's like 65,000 people, I think.
Whoa.
How many tickets can we
Talk
get?
about this
I know. Anyway.
All right, we're going to see, because I don't know. You might motivate me, bro.
Go. I say go. Go. 100% go. Yeah, you're going to love it. It's amazing. I love Mexico City.
Pressure's on. Sweetie, I'm going.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to any upcoming actors? They're like 15, 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
And they don't know which direction to go.
Easy. I'll tell you right now. It's very simple, actually, but a lot of work, right? What I would tell upcoming young actors, or even actors in any age, any category, anywhere, I would say this. I say it all the time, actually. Get a group of friends that you love and you trust and you can work with, and make things with them. Just get your group of friends, and whoever it is that's going to lead that ship, also understand what you're good at and what you lack in, because we're not perfect, and sometimes we want to do all of it. But we have to know and be aware of what my friend's good at and what they lack in, and how they can, you know, support the things that I lack, and then I can support the things they lack. So you have to understand your friend group, but create things with them, the people that you love. Like, that's the only thing that can work. You want to tell a story, get together with your friends, be passionate, talk about that story, and then have them like be so passionate that they become passionate about your story, you know? And then you all want to tell that thing. You want to sign up for an acting class? Kennedy Brown. You know, if you're in Los Angeles, Kennedy Brown. On Instagram, it's Kennedy Brown 888, 3 numbers. Like, that's his Instagram, that's his name. Not like any other acting class I've ever seen. Another advice I would give is, do not sign up for acting classes in Hollywood. Do not sign up for any of these like technical classes, camera technique classes. Do not sign up for any acting scene study class. Don't do it. Go to the library, go to your bookstore, read the books on the greats from the Actor Studio. Read Uta Hagen, Respect for Acting. Read Lee Strasberg's book. Read Meisner book. Like, read the books that they've written. Read the Lucid Body book by Faye Simpson. Read these books, and then sign up for Kennedy Brown. Like, that's it. That's the gold. Like, that is it. Because Kennedy Brown is I call him an equalizer. He can bring anyone that's gotten 60 years of experience and someone that's gotten fucking 6 days of experience into one classroom, and you will both be at the same level. Like by the end of that class, you will be able to perform just equally the same. And people are different in the individual work, but it'll be at a level like, oh, you feel like you're in the same, like you feel like you're with peers, you know? And so like Kennedy Brown, also a lot of work is like, a lot of the acting is just individual work. You know, people say acting is 90% confidence. So just be confident with the line you say. Like, that's it. Like, be confident, say the line, and sell it. Make a choice, you know, like, again, if the line is, I love you, and you're thinking about, I like chocolate, like, just like think, I like chocolate, and then say, I love you, right? And it's going to be like, and then say like, I hate chocolate, and then say, I love you. And there's going to be a different response all the time. Very simple 101 basic acting fucking technique right there. But like, read the greats, read where it comes from, study Eleonora Duse. She's an Italian actress from like the 1800s. The reason why we act the way we act in movies and film today is because of what she did on stage and what the Russian Moscow Art Theater Company tried to incorporate in their work, because Stanislavski, who created the whole technique about how to be natural and real and how to bring out your pain into your piece, watched Eleonora Duse and was like, what is she doing? And that woman, there's one YouTube video. It's Eleanor Duse on YouTube, the black and white film, a silent film. She specifically said, do not watch it because she hates it. She said it's a poor portrayal of her performance and her skill. But if you want to see how the lady looks, she's older in that video. She's there. Read a book called The Mystique in the Theater, Eleanor Duse. It's about this journalist who got all these facts, information, and all these articles on Eleanor Duse, created a whole piece on her. It's a book. It's a purple book on Amazon. You can get it, or like, you know, Barnes and Nobles or something. Read Eleanor Duse, Mystique in the Theater, and then read The First 6 Lessons by Boleslavsky. It's called The First 6 Acting Lessons by Boleslavsky. B with a boy, Boleslavsky. Those 2 books I recommend every actor to read, because you'll learn about where this acting technique comes from, and then you'll learn the very simple basics, but also the most crucial 6 lessons you need to know. And like concentration, right? That's one. Like, that's a commitment. Like, that's a lesson. Like, that's it, right? But read those 2 things, sign up for Kennedy Brown, and read the books where the greats come from. You know, that way you know your base. And then it's a lot of like, you know, I was in this class with Jack Garfine, rest in peace, my acting coach from Paris. There was a 16-year-old or 15-year-old actress in class, and I overheard her and Jack, as I was reading my book, she tells Jack, he was a Holocaust survivor. Jack has a whole life. Jack Garfine, he was from the actor studio, this whole thing. Anyways, she tells Jack, will I ever become an actor? And Jack says, that's between you and God. Like, that conversation, like, I don't know. You know, and that's the truth. It's like, I don't, like, every day, Bobby, I'm like, is this what I'm doing right now? Like, is this my path? Like, fuck, you know, I got to check in with God. You know, I got to check in with myself. I got to check in with where I've come, how far I've come with my life because of one thing, this acting thing, which has saved my life numerous amount of times. And so, like, you know, and like, why do you do it? Like, ask that question as well. You know, why? You know, why do you want to be an actor? Why? I asked that question, and for me, one of the answers that came, and it's gonna change, but one of my answers that came forward was like community. That was my biggest reason, that I can be in a group of people that are like-minded individuals, and we all have the same sensibilities or similar sensibilities, and we want something more than what the life we've been given. And so it's like, how do we use our life and like incorporate that in our work, you know? And so I'm like, that's what I need. I need community. We're social beings, right? We're human beings, but we're social. Like, we need to be in packs. We need to be in groups. You know, this individualistic idea of America, the United States. Let's define something real quick. America is North and South America. There's a big America. It's not just the United States. So we got it wrong, too, when we talk about, I want to go to America. You are in America if you're in South America. That's America, right? The United States is a very different thing. But it's like, you know, like, really try to define who you are in this world, you know, and that comes with like just believing in yourself again, and then and following whatever it is what story you want to tell, man. Like I know actors that are like not actors. They do commercials, and like they just have an agent for a commercial, and that's all they do. Like there's some people out there that just have a commercial agent, and they work regular jobs to do whatever, but they get a commercial audition and they do it because a commercial can pay you a lot of money. You know what I mean? It's like, and you work for like 3 hours, and you pretend you eat a burger. And then like that's it, and you get paid fucking like 60,000 or 250. Yeah, bro. No, but like checks can like if they're international commercials, like you get big ass.
I'm
checks.
launching my commercial career right now.
In serio, bro. In serio, like for real, like you can really.
Fuck!
Yeah,
are you
bro.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
I love burgers.
Yeah, gel product, whatever, man. Like you could just sign. Like there's a
I could
lot
already
of people.
see it now. Suavecito.
Yeah, there you go.
Hair.
Suavecito needs one, bro. I know.
Aquanet.
That's how you do it, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think I could be an actor, low-key. I think I could.
Yeah.
No, but let's leave it to the professionals.
Nah, bro. I mean, honestly, I know this older actress, this old lady. Actually, she's an older woman, who started acting when she was like in her 60s. And she told me like, oh yeah, I started because, like I had to raise my kids, I had to raise my grandkids, and now everyone's older, and now I can do my life. And she's in her 60s, but she's working.
No way.
Yeah, bro. Like she's on movies and shows. Like she works, and it's like, cause we need a abuelita. You know what I mean? We need her. You know what I mean? She's necessary in this system. You know what I mean? So it's like we need all of our voices to be heard and to be seen. You know what I mean?
That would be pretty dope. Come out in a movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, man.
Yeah.
Like, I put my.
But I had to memorize the scripts and shit.
Yeah, bro. Of course,
bro. I'm gonna have a hard time with that.
That's rule number one. Just like show up.
I'm gonna have a hard time with that shit.
Rule number one is like show up on time.
Oh, that.
And showing up on time is always like, if you're on time, you're late. So show up early. You know what I mean? That's on time.
That's
easy. So show up on time and then just know your lines. And just be confident, bro. That's all it is. Because when you're sitting across the camera with somebody and they're like you're like watching De Niro and he's in front of you, you're like, whoa, you can't freak out. You know what I mean? You gotta like, boom, stay the course.
I think I'll be pretty good with that. The only thing is like, I'm gonna have to memorize the script, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'll be like, how much am I getting paid?
Bro.
All right.
Bro.
I'm memorizing this shit.
Bro, that's where it comes down to like why we do it, right? Like I did this play. It was 80 minutes of a play. I had a lot of lines. There was 3 of us that acted on the stage in front of an audience of 130 plus people. Like that's how much a stage can have and our stage. And I didn't get off the stage for 80 minutes. Like the moment I landed on stage, I didn't get off till it ended. And it's like there was monologues and like a lot to do in 80 minutes. I didn't get paid $1. Not $1. Oh yeah, I did. Like I put it up. Like I put up the whole production of the play.
And this was like a passion for you, though, right?
It was pure passion. It was purely out of like community. Again, I want my friends and my family to show up. I want to have this event. I want to do a community program. I want to bring in more youth. We teamed up with Homeboys Industry too. Like we had a lot of people come in and be a part of the process, Yeah, but I didn't get $1. Like if anything, I put in money, you know what I mean? Like I invested in certain things like buying the food or buying the flowers or whatever, like that was it, but, I mean, it's again, like, why do we do it, right? Like, why do you want to be an actor? Yeah, I used to have this acting teacher who would like go hardcore. She used to be like, why do you want to be an actor? And people would be like, I want to tell stories. Why do you want to be an actor? I like to be in other people's shoes. Why do you want to be an actor? I get to hide in the character. It's like, why the fuck do you want to be an actor? And then she's like, why? And I heard somebody once say, because if I'm not an actor, I'm gonna blow my brains out, But he said that in a way of like I need this shit, you know what I mean? Like this is the only thing I feel heard or seen in. This is like the only place I can really relate to things. Like this is the only place that allows me to express myself. Because at home, if I even cry, I'm a fucking coward or something, So it's like, how do we, like these safe places that we can express. That's why acting is fun, I think, It's an addiction, man.
It looks really fun, especially that Narcos role.
Yeah, I mean, we used to play with guns and Bad Bunny, It's like, yeah, of course it's fun. Yeah, it is fun, man. At some point, it's like, all right, we're just having fun, Like, that's what it is. At the end of the day, just enjoying it, man. And it's a blessing to be able to get paid for having fun.
How was it being around Bad Bunny?
He's cool, man. He's a very nice guy. I think he's you know, in my experience, he was very just to himself, and I think that's only natural when you come from a very different place. You know, he comes from the music world, and I think Narcos was his very first acting thing. I mean, he does a lot of music videos and stuff like that, but like it was kind of a fish out of water experience, and so like I took it upon myself to be more just mindful of that and aware of that and tender, you know, that way it doesn't freak somebody out, you know, because I'm pretty damn sure if I was on the stage in front of 60-something thousand people having to sing the way, I mean, I think I'd feel a little stage fright too, you know, and it'd be like, and I would want that guidance, I want that support. So he's a good guy, man. We talked just a little bit about being Puerto Ricans, and that was it, man. They ain't did his thing. He's a star, man. Like, he turns it on. Like, he just go, boom. You know, it's like
way.
He's a star, bro. That's why he is who he is. You know,
So you can be like, oh, cool, and then all of a sudden, like,
Yep.
action, boom.
Yep, 100%, just like that. But see, that's what we need. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's like you got to be able to just go. You know what I mean? Just do it. You know. Yeah. Anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of relationship do you have with Eva Longoria?
I love her, man. I got a text from her this morning. There's a thing called NHMC, National Hispanic Media Coalition, where they like honor certain Latinos in the film world, and musicians like Miguel's gonna be there, Angel Miguel Soto's gonna be there, and she texted me and she's like, hey, are you going to this thing? I was like, I wasn't aware of it, and then she like texted, like, this is early this morning, and she's like, well, I want you at my table. I'm sending you the information now, and I was like, what? And then I hit up my manager and I'm like, yo, Eva's sending me to this thing. She's like, oh my God, I tried to get you in that thing, but they said they were max capacity, so I couldn't get you in, but look at Eva coming through. And I'm like, what? All right. That shows me, like, I have connections, not just connections, but friendships and relationships with people that recognize my work as an artist when sometimes the business might not. You know, sometimes there might be like, oh, there's like checks and balances and like, what has he done? You know what I mean? Like, what big movie? Like, is that Brad Pitt? I'm like, no. You know, it's Bobby Soto. You know, and it's like, and you know what I mean? Like, and then Eva Longoria, who's so gracious and kind and loving and like really does believe in people. Like, she is someone that really will just like help you like just create whatever it is you want to create. Like, she really is. If it comes from a genuine place from you, she'll see it, you know, and I think her and I mean, since the movie we did, Flaming Hot, we've had a great connection, man. Like, it's been wild, man, because my grandfather, rest in peace, his favorite actress in the whole wide world was Eva Longoria. And it's like, yeah. And like, talk about like a little bit about the spirit world, man. Like, if you believe in the other side and the non-physical, you know, I do. You know, I believe my grandfather is with me in everything. And like, I feel like he's guided my life in a lot of things. I mean, even shooting Narcos, like, he had passed away. I think he had passed away before I even finished that. And the character of Narcos was Popeye. My grandfather's alias name is Popeye. So it was like I was playing my grandfather in a weird kind of way, you know what I mean? And so, and like Eva was like his favorite actress, and now she's like my really good friend. He used to send me music of Trish Toledo. I don't know if you're familiar with Trish Toledo, who's an amazing Latina musician. She sings a lot of oldies. Like, she sold out the House of Blues a few months ago. Like, I'm working with her on a whole documentary about her being like one of the first Latinas to ever perform in a prison. And so like we're gonna do a whole thing like that. And my grandfather just sent me videos of her music and be like, this is the best singer in the world. No one can do it like her. Da, da, da. She's my friend now, you know? Yeah, so I'm like, what? This is a trip. Like, I just continue, like, my grandfather continues to bless me, you know, in this physical world. And so, like, I'm excited about what the future has in store for me, you know? And hopefully my presence and my image, or whatever it is that I am, it can inspire other young people to like reach for their dreams as well, you know, and really believe in, again, tenacity. Like again, I come from a family of prison time. I come from I come from violence. I come from gangs. I come from, a lot of my uncles and aunts have died of drug use. Like they've been, they OD'd. Like I come from a lot of that shit, I come from all that, but like none of that has stopped me. It's my story and I get to use it in my art, and I get to propel from that. It only shows like, okay, like what else can I do? Again, what else can I do? Because the work doesn't stop. Even when we're gone, the work don't stop. You know what I mean? Like we got to continue to build leaders in our communities and leaders in our families. That way they can continue whatever legacy you want to build, for generations to come. That way it continues to work out. And like if your light shines bright, then you brighten up someone else's light. And that's just how we heal, and just like that guy at the Calaveras, man, I'm trying to get my whole family retired, Everybody eating at the restaurant, like, yo, everybody, that's my baby mama right there, that's my baby right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're good now, like, they're good, and it's just about expanding, and that's all I want to do, man. And Eva's a great person, man. Eva Longoria is a great person.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Damn, we covered a lot.
We did, bro.
I could still keep going.
Yeah, we can. I mean, but I know you got things to do.
But you're one smart individual, my brother.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you took the time to stop by. Sometimes things get a little bit difficult. I'm trying to do so much, and then it's like, oh man. But it takes some interviews like this to like be like, all right, bro. Mm-hmm. Keep going, dog.
Yeah.
Keep going. Like, so what? I do a lot, but it's like, this was good. Mm-hmm. I think it's really good for me. I don't know if you noticed that I was like, give me a fucking notepad right now and start taking notes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, my brother. We really appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Bobby Soto in the house.
That's right.
And we can't wait for this to drop, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, bro.
This was good.
Cool.